The poop emoji really adds artistic merit to this video, you know? It really makes you think, wow, these guys, they explore deeply. They get to the root of everything they talk about. Very deep, very philosophical analysis. Very smart dudes.
Hey everyone! Welcome to the I'm gonna keep that in. Welcome to the best anime antagonists by me, Luther B. Cause I made this one. If you've seen our other tier lists, you know that I just picked some random shit off the internet. But this time, I got all the pictures, I set this up, and it's mine. I made it. You can go check it out if you want to. I guess, I don't know, link will be in the description. Before I do anything, shout out to Shay Scruggs, who suggested we do a villain tier list. You're a cool guy or
Yeah,
gal.
man.
I don't know who you are.
Dude,
but
rest in peace, Shay Scruggs. Is he dead?
No. I hope not.
Did we fuck that up?
It's only been a month.
Oh,
so...
no, he's probably fine. Okay,
yeah, he's
sorry
probably,
about
yeah,
that.
You're probably fine.
He's good.
Thank you. And if anybody else has any tier lists that they want us to do, leave it in the comments, and maybe we'll get to it eventually. But yeah, we're doing a villain tier list. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be great. Here we have our tiers. We have Bamps. We got the Bamps, the badass motherfuckers. Under that is Insidious for those extra bad villains that don't quite make it to the Bamps. We got our dastardly villains. We've got our wicked villains. And then we have, your lesser villains. You have your foul villains. And then you have your straight up pathetic villains. These guys they're not threatening at all. They're shitty guys.
Pathetic!
But yeah, let's start off this tier list with with the one and only Acnologia from Fairy Tail. Fuck this guy. This guy's foul at best. I know, because we were talking about this earlier, and I know you didn't get past the Tenro Island arc, but like where he literally blows up the island and like quote unquote kills everyone is like the most threatening thing he does in the entire series. Not joking.
That's pretty pathetic because it wasn't even that threatening because they all survived.
I mean, they all survived by like bullshit magic, but like he didn't know that. He just showed up and blew them all the fuck up, you know what I mean? So like, and they couldn't do anything. So like, that's what I mean. Like, they couldn't even contest him at the point. You find out that like Gildart's the strongest wizard at the time got fucked up by Acnologia. That's another thing. Like, so he's always in like the background. He's always threatening. But like once they actually get to him, God, he's so fucking disappointing. Like he basically everybody's fighting like the armies of Xerath, and then Acnologia, like they treat him like a bit villain, even though like he ends up being more important than Xerath. Like he's like the final antagonist. After they beat Xerath, so like I don't know, man. It's just like, and then they didn't even do anything with him. Like they fought him, like all the Dragon Slayers fought him, and then it's again like some stupid bullshit power of friendship thing where it's like, you can't beat me, I eat all magic. And then Natsu's like, yeah, but whatever, right? And then they kill him. Like, they just blow him up.
What were his motivations?
He just wanted to kill everyone. He was like, I hate humans, even though he started out as a human. And then he became a dragon. He was like, I hate humans, I'm the strongest and the coolest and the bestest, I want to kill everyone. And that was it.
That's lame.
Yeah, it's lame as fuck. So...
So, is the debate, should he be in foul or pathetic? Why foul as opposed to pathetic?
Well, like, foul... I put him in foul just because, like, throughout the series, there's always like this kind of like looming threat of Acnologia, you know what I mean? Like he's brought up several times in the Grand Magic games when like all the dragons show up, like literally like 7 dragons show up and start fucking shit up. They're all like, yeah, you can't defeat us. Like they like Natsu couldn't even put a dent in any of these dragons. Besides one that was literally made of fire, so fuck it. And like all of them, there's like a line where like all of one of the dragons is like, yeah, Acnologia was literally the strongest. Like we're piss weak compared to him. And then when they start fighting the dragons, like they can't do shit to them. So you're like, oh my fucking god, how strong must Acnologia actually be? So there's always like this looming threat of him, and he feels dangerous for most of the series, but then he ends up being literally nothing.
So points for presence.
Yeah.
Other than that,
throughout the series, but it's like what they did with Madara, except it turned out to be stupid and lame. So.
Except Madara actually lived up to the hype.
Madara lived up to the hype. The Acnologia absolutely did not. Okay, next we have Akashi Seijuro of Kuroko no Basket. He's like the Emperor Eye. You remember Emperor Eye?
Emperor Eye.
He's
not Sharingan.
He's the overall antagonist of the series. Like everybody else, even the other members of the Generation of Miracles, is super fucking, which is the super strong characters that they have to fight. Everybody else is pretty fucking scared of him. He's like the leader of them all. He's just really like, he's also fucking crazy. Like he one of the main characters, Kagami, is like confronting him, and he like tries to stab him in the face with a pair of scissors. Like, and these are like normal, like they're normal kids. Like they're really good at basketball, but otherwise than that, they're like normal people.
Seems like a very reasonable and balanced individual.
He's literally like he has a split personality. He has split personality disorder. Honestly, I mean, he's super fucking cool. Like, yeah, it's basketball, but like at the end of the day, all his motivation is winning. So like, he basically he's never lost anything in his life. And once he like started to like feel like the other members of the Generation of Miracles were getting better than he was, he went crazy and basically created this split personality to like, and his split personality has the Emperor Eye, which is the ability that like literally like it quote unquote sees the future. Like it's really fucking cool. Honestly,
yeah, if I had the ability to see the future, I would definitely use it playing basketball.
Honestly, well, I mean, it's not really seeing the future. It's basically predicting what people do based off of like tiny little movements that they make.
You're right. I can't see another use for that skill anywhere.
It's basically the Sharingan. Fuck. Except also really cool. I'm not even joking. I think he's a Bamf, man. I think he's a motherfucking Bamf.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not kidding. Like, dude, if you watch the show, he's like, he's another one of those things where it's like he's always looming in the background. You always like kind of like hear from him, like hear things about him, and like as soon as people talk about him, everything is like super uncomfortable. When you meet him, like when you talk to him, it's always like this like. When people talk to him and have conversations with him, it's always like this feeling of like this uncomfortable feeling that you have, and it's like you don't really understand him until you get to fight him. And he's like when they're playing, like in every game, I mean, you only see him in 2 games, but the 2 games that you see him in, he absolutely shits on another member of the Generation of Miracles. And then when they're fighting the main guys, like he's always in control of the game. You know what I mean? Like think characters of like Baby Steps. You remember how in Baby Steps, like everybody's like, oh, I have you like thinking about this and thinking about that. Like it's like that except times 20 because it's like.
I don't want to put this person in badass motherfuckers until we know who else is there.
All right, that's fair.
So,
I mean, I'm not joking. Like, at least in Insidious, man. Like, he's crazy interesting.
just leave him in Insidious for now. We'll revisit, but
Yeah.
I feel like Banff has to be.
Yeah, reserved for those really over the top, super special. Also, you haven't seen this show, so like
I also haven't seen the show.
I totally
Full
get it.
disclosure, I'm pretty much
Yeah.
Luther knows more than me about that.
Me, Luther B.
That's his name, Luther B. That's my name, Luther B.
Okay, All for One. Can you say a lot about this dude? Because like I think he's really like weak.
Okay.
Compared to other characters in My Hero.
The series has not ended yet.
Yeah.
So we're suffering a little bit from not knowing what his end game is. Presumably he comes back. He was only imprisoned, right? He didn't die.
Yeah, he was imprisoned.
So
But like
I don't understand a lot about My Hero Academia's timeline. Maybe you can clear some of this stuff up for me before we talk about him. So this guy was a feared crime lord.
Yeah.
Who basically dominated Japan until All Might showed up?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
But
I'm
the
pretty
whole...
Well, even then, like, I think, like, the previous holder of One for All, Nana Shimura, I think that's her name, like, All Might's mentor, I think even she fought All for One?
I thought he killed her.
He did. I'm pretty sure.
I think he killed her.
And I could be wrong, but I think this guy has been around for a super fucking long time.
I think he has because he's immortal.
Is he literally immortal?
I think he's literally immortal. Now, this doesn't make sense to me because...
because he was originally... I'm pretty sure he was originally the one to give... One for All to... Like, his younger brother, right?
He gave One for All to his younger brother. So One for All is a combination of the quirk he gave to his brother, which is the ability to pass a quirk to another person, and something that his brother could do. I don't know. I don't remember.
No,
one of them.
I think it was, like, originally it was his brother could pass
his
quirk?
brother can pass.
Was
his
it
brother
that?
could pass it on, but there was something he gave to his brother.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
That they didn't know or something like that. I forget.
It was a combination. Okay, so All Might fights him, defeats him, and 5 years go by. But
really?
Something like that. He only defeated him. He didn't defeat him that, like, by the time the show starts, he's only been defeated for like a few years.
For a few years. But he's also the one that put that huge hole in All Might's, like, chest, right?
Yes.
Jesus. Yeah, so that... Oh, yeah.
What I don't understand is, if it was only 5 years that the whole place was not under the control of this guy, why does everything look fine? Like, they've just been a regular... Like, it was just in Japan?
I don't know if, like, he was, like, technically, like, in control of Japan as a whole, or if he was just, like, the super strong villain that was basically terrorizing everything.
But he was a crime lord terrorizing everything, and people go about their daily lives like they never had to worry.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's wrong. I guess you could say that's All Might protecting them. But
yeah.
After 5 years, really? They're not afraid at all?
Also, like, dude, who fucking knows? They probably didn't write him when the show started, you know what I mean? Like, they probably didn't have the idea for this guy when they originally started the show.
I don't know what his motivation is. I guess it's just to be powerful.
I don't.
And to be rich.
I don't
He was
know.
a criminal, so presumably...
Also, he's such a... Like, even in the arc that he's in the anime... Also, by the way, I mean, I don't know about you, but I didn't even finish Season 3. I haven't seen any of Season 4.
I have not seen it. Season 4.
I've never read any of the manga, so Overhaul is not on this list. Any of the villains that come after him, not on the list. I've only seen the first 2 seasons of the anime.
I hope nothing critical was explained in Season 4.
Yeah, hopefully not. But from what we've seen in season 2, where he's the most prominent, he's like, I don't know, he just shows up, and it's like, oh no, All for One, and then All Might beats him. Like, it's super cool. I think the fight is cool that he beats him in. United States of Smash is a cool thing, but like,
he's a little threatening.
You know what I mean?
The fact that he fights All Might is pretty wild, but I wouldn't put him any higher than Foul. I don't think anything of him, really. I don't think he makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and like the whole lack of motivation that you don't really see from him. Like, I guess another really interesting thing is like his inspiration towards Shigaraki, I guess.
The fact that, yeah, that's something else I don't understand. He trusts Shigaraki, or he wants to trust Shigaraki.
Yeah.
This, like, mentally unstable kid.
Yeah.
With, I guess, running the League of Evil, or whatever the hell.
The League of Villains.
Whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Insert generic evil group in here.
Insert a very generic name.
Yeah.
I don't know why he wants to do that. I don't know why he wants Shigaraki to do it. Because, you know, if I was smart, I'd probably pick someone who, you know, wasn't mentally unstable.
Yeah.
But there's just so much not understood, or rather that I do not understand about him and his motivations, for me to put him any higher than Foul.
Other than that, I like his abilities.
His abilities are
Although,
definitely
timeout. Okay. I like the fact that he can, like, steal abilities or whatever and then use a bunch of different abilities at the same time. But, like, the abilities that he uses are so stupid. Like, it's like, oh, I get big muscle mass, I'm stronger. Oh, also shock absorption to beat all my punches or whatever. And it's like, you couldn't think of anything else? Like, you don't have any other, like, super busted OP abilities? Like, aren't you, like, the super biggest, baddest guy? Like,
yeah, like Todoroki's quirk? You can't just clap and blow up the entire place?
Yeah, like, come on. Todoroki has one of the most awesome quirks, but, like, this guy doesn't? I don't believe you for a second.
What?
Yeah,
okay, but
I don't get it. Yeah, Foul, he's fine. I might put him in Wicked if, like, later on, or maybe even higher, if, like, later on he comes back and is, like, actually good, but there's so much about him that's never explained, and it's just like he's there, and then he loses and goes to jail. Like, that's it.
By the way, they put this infamous criminal who dominated the underworld for years in jail. They don't, I don't know, try and execute him. Well, does the death penalty even exist in Japan? That's irrelevant, but, like,
who knows?
You'd think if he was such an infamous criminal, they'd just
maybe they can't kill him.
They literally, that'd be interesting. They literally can't
Maybe
kill him.
they literally can't kill him. Who knows?
But I mean, he's wearing a life support mask. Just pull that bad boy off, and he.
Is that what that is?
I think that's what it is, because, you know, we got into
Oh yeah,
fighting
doesn't
All
he
Might.
have, like, a really fucked up face?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, the anti-spiral from Gurren Lagann. The anti-spiral is super interesting. I asked you earlier, and you said you haven't finished Gurren Lagann, but the anti-spiral is super interesting. I'd put him in Dastardly, at least. It's like, so the anti-spiral is a collective of like this race that just, like, oppresses spiral energy, which is, like, the most broken fucking energy source in the entire universe.
They oppress it?
Yeah, because, like, their idea is that, like, if it gets too out of hand, it could literally destroy the universe.
It's a good reason to oppress something.
Yeah.
I guess.
So, like, their whole idea is that if we just suppress this energy and, like, suppress basically all the races that use it, so, like, the Earthlings,
right.
Basically all the Beastmen that they fight in the original series, or not in the original series, in the in, like, the first half of Gurren Lagann, those are, like, creations of the anti-spiral given to Lord Genome by the anti-spiral, because, like, he became so strong in, like, using spiral energy that they were like, no, stop. Stop. Like
That's an interesting
we can't
motivation.
let you get too strong, or else spiral energy will literally destroy the universe. And spiral energy can do anything. Like it can do anything.
I like the idea that they just don't want this endless or this infinitely potential
Yeah.
energy to get out of control, so they're kind of like nipping it in the bud where they see it. They're like, stop,
Yeah.
you're gonna kill everyone.
Yeah, basically. That's what their whole motivation is. And like honestly, I'm thinking Insidious because like they completely, like for the most part, just decimate Team Gurren. Or Die Gurren or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves in the second half. Because like Simone, once he's an adult, he like they kidnap Nia, who is his like girlfriend, love interest. They kidnap Nia and like they hold her hostage because like she was apparently born of anti-spiral energy. So like she's a part of them. And then Simone gets like a bunch of guys and goes into space after them and just like it is like through like all the spiral energy that he's like amassing, he like just keeps getting like bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger robots until like the robots are so big that like the anti-spiral and Simone piloting his robot are literally like throwing galaxies at each other. Like it's super fucking awesome and dope as shit.
Jesus Christ, I must finish that.
Yeah, Gurren Lagann is actually pretty fucking dope. I'm actually gonna put them in Insidious because they're epic. They are like so fucking cool. And as you know, like the themes of progression, like again, they're completely antithetical to that because the themes of progression and continuing to forward humanity in Gurren Lagann, they're the complete antithesis of that. So like they're like the purpose that they serve in the story as well, is good. Also, they just look cool. Like I just think they look really dope. So yeah, anti-spiral. Next we have Boros from One Punch Man. I don't know, this dude's in Wicked, I guess. I think he's cool. That's it, though.
There isn't too much to say about Boros. His motivation is that he's trying to find a worthy battle because he's so strong that he just demolishes anyone he fights.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting, his role in One Punch Man, because he's the first opponent that Saitama doesn't destroy in one hit.
Yeah, but
he actually has to fight him.
But even then, like, Saitama is still, like, bored with him.
Saitama is still holding back.
Yeah, like that, and that's like that was the moment in season 1 where like they're flipping around, they're blasting, like he's blasting energy at Saitama, and Saitama's just like, all right, whatever, like who cares? And then he gives him like, what was it, like a serious punch?
A serious punch and ends his life.
It like completely obliterates him, and like it splits the sky, like it splits the clouds in half and shit like that. Like it's super awesome.
Boros is cool, but you're right, there's not much to be said about him.
Yeah, he shows up, he yeets a couple guys, and then he dies. Like,
he's very basic.
Yeah.
I think we could probably stop there, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think I can say a lot about him. Like, that's it.
He's only there for 2 episodes.
Yeah, he's there for 2 episodes. And I don't know if he comes back. I mean, he probably doesn't, considering he got killed. But, I don't know if, like, or if he has, like, a more prevalent role in the manga. I didn't read the manga. I only saw the anime, so... Yeah, that's it. He's fine. He's whatever. He's Wicked. So, yeah, he's fine. Boo? I don't know where you want to put Boo. Should we cover like all the incarnations of Boo? Cuz this is just Kid Boo.
I think that I'm going to talk about Fat Boo first.
Okay.
Fat Boo for me was very interesting because he wasn't inherently bad. He was just this absurdly powerful, like, demon entity
Yeah.
that just and the people like Goku and Vegeta who had been training so long and had fought so many opponents just beat the ever-loving shit out of him
Yeah.
to absolutely no effect. And the threatening thing was like, so, like, what do you do to him? What do you do? Nobody can kill him.
Yeah, like, Vegeta literally blows himself up. He kills himself to kill Boo, and it didn't do it. Like, it didn't work.
It just didn't do anything. He's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that is, like, I don't know, like, Fat Boo just becomes really annoying after a while. Like, he's interesting to the point where it's like, oh, you know, he's not, I guess, inherently malicious, but even then, not really. I mean, he is to some extent, but,
he's childlike, though.
Yeah, he's childlike, and, like, that gives him an air of, like, oh, he, maybe, like, his naivety is just, like, unleashed, and he just wants to do whatever he wants, you know what I mean, and eat candy and turn people into chocolate. So, like, that's fine. It's just weird. I don't know. I never really got the impression from, like, Fat Boo that he was supposed to be, like, a really serious villain. Like, he was supposed to be taken really seriously, you know what I mean? Because of his personality.
That's the thing about him. He doesn't seem very threatening because he on the surface, he really isn't.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that he's so abominably powerful and unkillable, and he just does whatever he wants.
And it's, like, also, like, the fact that Hercule befriends him and, like, they become, like, super best friends, it's, like, that's cool. I like that. But, like, why? You know what I mean?
I think
why?
it's interesting because it's basically saying some things you can't defeat with force. Now, they kind of do defeat him with force.
Yeah, they
later,
do, actually. They blow him the fuck up.
But I think it's an interesting... In that moment, it's interesting because they're basically saying, well, some things have to be accomplished by...
Yeah.
Reaching out your hand.
Now,
and trying to
Super
understand.
Boo, on the other hand... Super Boo is cool. I like him a lot. But... in between, like, I think definitely he's the coolest looking out of all of them, but, like, in between Fat Boo and Kid Boo, he's like the third, he's like the middle evolution of starter Pokemon, you know what I mean? Where it's, like, really weird and awkward, and, like, they don't really know what's happening.
He's definitely threatening.
Yeah.
He's a parasite that starts absorbing people.
Yeah.
And just starts to get kind of unstoppable by the time Vegito shows up.
Yeah.
And by the time Vegito shows up, I mean, he's absorbed everyone. He's pretty much ridiculous.
But even then, Vegito, like, just shits on him.
Vegito just dunks on him. He's like, you are nothing.
Yeah, he gets absolutely wasted. And that's Super Boo Gohan absorbed, too. Like, Ultimate Gohan.
Vegito didn't even go Super Saiyan. He was just like, well, skewered.
No, he goes Super Saiyan.
He does, but I don't think he needed to.
No, he didn't need to.
I think he was just
Yeah, he was just
tucking
showing
around.
off. He was just showing off. Damn. But, yeah, Super Boo, I also really like his fight against Ultimate Gohan. But, like, that's just because I like Gohan. That's not really what Super Boo does, you know what I mean?
Yeah, although, okay, should we talk about Kid Boo?
Yeah.
I think Kid Boo's... So he's the evil version. He's whatever Boo was originally, right?
He is the original
the demon
Boo.
version that was actually pure evil.
Yeah.
Which is just, I mean, his motivations are as basic as it gets. It's just, he's pure evil.
Yeah, he's pure evil. He wants to, like, he just destroys shit.
I kind of find him the least interesting, although I know people like him.
He definitely is the least interesting, but at the same time...
He's cool, though.
He's really cool, and, like, he literally blows up the planet. Like, Goku...
And kills everyone without a second thought. He's just like...
literally couldn't do anything. Like, he grabs Dende and Hercule. He couldn't even save his own kids. And then Boo blows up the planet. Like...
He kills every single person on there. I don't even think... He was just like, oh, there are people here? Alright, no more.
Yeah, like, that was it.
And then almost every single one of them just died right
and, like,
there.
He can't even talk. Like, I don't even know if he has, like, cognizant thought. Or if he's just, like,
he must,
just a rage monster. You know
he is sadistic. I think he enjoys causing other people pain.
Yeah, but he also likes having fun and just fucking with people. Because, like, when he was fighting Goku, like, he absolutely just fucks with him sometimes. He curls himself up into a ball and starts slamming around Goku. Like, he just doesn't care.
I think he is dastardly.
Yeah, I'm going to put him in dastard. Like, all things considered, between Super Boo, Kid Boo, and Fat Boo, I think altogether makes him dastardly. But nothing super interesting.
Nothing amazing, but definitely...
But memorable and fucking cool as shit. You know what I mean? Alright, next we have Byakuran-san from Hitman Reborn. You have literally never seen this show, I know. You know nothing about him. I'm going to put him in dastardly as well. He is... Technically, in the anime, he's like the end antagonist. But in the manga, because the manga goes past where the anime is, or where the anime ends. And they get more villains. But like for the anime, like he's good, he's fine. He's always, I mean, again, he's really threatening. The worst part about him is that you never really get like a super clear motivation besides like I want to rule everything. Because he has the ability to go into parallel worlds and take them, and basically every parallel world except the one that the prime world that they live in, or prime universe they live in, I guess. He's literally taken over every other universe besides that one. And this is like the last one that's like holding out against him. And even then, they're not winning. Like, he is absolutely just, like, in control of everything for the most part. Like, the heroes have to, like, basically live underground for several years. And not, like, they can't fight him. They're, like, literally just not strong enough.
So this dude's conquered every single other possible dimension?
Yeah, basically.
How is he even stoppable then? Shouldn't he be like a god?
I mean, he basically is. See, like, the reason that they stop him is because, one, because the Prime Universe is the best.
That's pretty pretentious of them.
I mean, yeah, but, like, like, you get to see another one of his, like, split universes, and like the dude, like one of his other universe counterparts is like literally made of pure energy. It's like really fucking cool. But he because the main character can absorb energy like that, he literally kills him by absorbing him. So like, I don't know. I thought it was cool.
So nobody in any of the other dimensions thought of doing that?
They couldn't. He's one of the only, like, as far as we know, he is the only character still alive that can absorb energy. It's like him and one other dude that was like his ancestor that could absorb energy. Like, that's it. So yeah, that's how they stop him. But like the original Byakuran is like, he's basically touted as a god. As far as like the main anime is concerned, because later he later on he doesn't become like a good guy, but he's how how do I explain it? He helps the heroes defeat like the overarching bad guy, basically.
Wait, there's someone stronger than the dude who conquered every other dimension?
Yeah.
Where were they hiding him?
And it's also really weird because like this Byakuran is from the future. So like the heroes go to the future to beat him, and then they go back to the past, and then there's even stronger guys there. For whatever reason.
Got it.
Yeah, the manga goes fucking bonkers. But, like, at the end of the anime, like, they beat him in the future. And basically, when they beat him in the future, that releases the control of all the other universes that he had control over. So, like, yeah, he's just, he's done. And then, like, the anime ends. So, yeah, he's really cool. It's just like it's never like super clear on like what his end goal is besides like I want to be in control of everything. And like his personality is super cool. Like he's a type of character who's like don't fuck with him, you know what I mean? Because like he's super strong and will kill you, but like he's also like super nice and friendly. You know what I mean? Like his main thing is like he likes eating marshmallows. Like he's just like this really weird guy. And for the most part, people like him. It's just that when other people like when he's trying to literally take over everything, people are like, "All right, we have to like put a stop to this."
I guess that's fair.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, I like him a lot. He's cool. Cell. What do you think? I think Cell isn't dastardly. I think he's at the same level as Kid Buu.
I don't really know what to make of Cell. I think he's interesting in that his whole point is to absorb the other two androids, and the process by which he does it is interesting because it's basically a cock-up cascade where they just keep fucking up and letting him do things, and then he becomes perfect. And Perfect Cell is extremely threatening. I mean, because Goku basically says, "Yeah, I can't beat him," and everyone's like, "Oh, okay,
yeah,
that's good. Guess we'll die." But his motivations are just
like attain perfection.
Gonna be the strong. Well, attain perfection, and then after that, get bored and have a tournament.
Destroy
I guess
everything,
just
like
kill everyone.
Yeah,
fuck it. Yeah, okay.
Which is like. Again, it's a lot of I guess Dragon Ball antagonists that I mean even still protagonists that's just like I want to be the strongest, you know what I mean? Cuz that's what Dragon Ball is about.
Yeah. So, and I mean that doesn't diminish him. He's definitely cool.
Yeah.
And the Cell Saga is good. But in terms of being a villain with more understandable and interesting motivations and being sort of definitely threatening, but his motivations for me are where it falls flat because it's just like you want to be the strong. I mean, I love Dragon Ball Z, but the villain motivations are not the strong suit of that show.
Yeah, it's more of like their personalities overall.
Exactly.
And like Cell has a really like as far as like the way he carries himself, especially like the difference between I mean second form Cell not really because you don't get to see a lot of him, but like first form Cell is like this weird gross bug creature that's constantly like I will take over everything I want to absorb at 17 and 18. Like it's super cool. Like and he's like you're just like it's gross and weird. It's almost like this like Lovecraftian horror that you get introduced to that's like is constantly putting all the characters on edge. And like once Piccolo meets him, he immediately freaks out because he's like, you literally killed everyone in this town. You ate them. Like you ate them. He eats people. Like
he's super off-putting and threatening when you first meet him. He also like when he uses the Kamehameha.
Yeah.
That's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
right
you're
now?
literally like, and even still, like he uses like all these other abilities that like he uses solar flare, Kamehameha, special beam cannon. Like, he uses all of these things, and you're like, he can just do them. What's happening? You know what I mean?
Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the aspect that I think he's like really super cool in. And I just like his design a lot.
Do we care about how he kind of goes crazy as Super Perfect Cell? Is that...
I think he only really goes crazy because he's, like, getting the shit kicked out of him, you know what I mean? And he's like, I've attained perfection, what's happening? Like, he's just getting more and more angry. And, like, Gohan is just... Like, he's just wiping his ass with this dude. Like,
he doesn't care at all.
He's absolutely demolishing him. So, I don't know. I don't think it's, like, out of character, you know? Because, like, for him to be, like, this high, pompous asshole in Perfect Cell, that makes sense.
Justifiably, because he was kind of beating on everyone.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, technically Final Flash misses, but, like, he still tanks, like, half of it, you know what I mean? He tanks half of Final Flash.
Yeah, to tank the Final... I mean, yeah. He basically regenerated. He was like, yeah, that's... Okay.
Yeah, he was like, all right, time to and he then proceeds to dust Vegeta. Like, Vegeta gets fucking dusted.
And then Gohan, there aren't any words for what Gohan did to Cell.
Yeah.
But he just sort of...
And I really like the way that, like, Cell facilitates Gohan's arc, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It's super interesting just watching Cell fall apart and Gohan just be like, I hate you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like him. He's good. Crollo Lucifer, I think that's his name.
Something like that.
I don't actually remember. I'm gonna let you handle this because I don't remember a lot about Hunter x Hunter. Especially this guy who wasn't in the anime a lot. I don't remember.
Again, for me, this guy kind of suffers from I'm not really sure what his ultimate goal is, except that he's the leader of the Phantom Troop, and they do jobs, they're criminals, you know, they do all sorts of stuff, and he's feared and respected. And I mean, he's interesting, but, like, what does he do? What does he do? And I know, so later on, there's more of the manga that was written where he fights Hisoka or something.
Yeah. And
I know there's more there, but... I don't understand any
Wait, he does motivation. Eventually fight Hisoka?
I think he does, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because that was like...
Hisoka gets bodied.
Oh, good. That was like the big thing that everybody was like, why wasn't that in the anime, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, they don't fight in the anime. Although it's like, oh, they're going to eventually, but they never do.
But Hisoka gets destroyed, I'm pretty sure. But that doesn't really matter in terms of his motivation. Like, what is Crollo trying to do? Well, he's trying to get his Nen back after... What's-his-face, Kurapika seals his Nen.
Oh, really?
Puts the chain around his heart. He's trying to get his Nen back. Fair enough. But, like, what is his end game? I could not tell you.
I mean, probably what his... I mean, he was probably just going to keep doing what he had been doing, right? Like, just stealing shit?
Just stealing shit, yeah. I guess he's a... Is he a thief?
Yeah, I guess.
But, with all that power, what's the point of being... It's the same problem I have, like... When you're that powerful, what's the point of being a criminal? Like, what's the point of... If you're that strong, it's
I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't
Does money really matter? But anyway, I mean, Crollo, is he threatening? I mean, Kurapika, to be fair, Kurapika's entire power is based on hating the Phantom Troop.
Yeah.
But,
like, all of his family
it's still Kurapika. Yeah. Like... He's not a god. But
he's pretty strong though, right?
Yeah, no, he's look,
he killed
no joke. He killed
Uno Govin or whatever the fuck that guy's name is.
Uvojin or
was
something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was cool though.
And Uvojin's super strong, but like he's not a chimera ant. He's not as strong as Pito or so like those guys are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So is he threatening? I guess, but he's a thief. He doesn't want to destroy the world, to my knowledge. He doesn't seem to be sadistic or anything. He just sort of does jobs. So I guess he's wicked.
Wicked? You want to put him in wicked?
I don't know if he's foul or wicked. Just put him in wicked. I
don't
want to.
Yeah. I don't want to upset
I
the
don't want to make
fanboys
too many.
much.
I don't want to make any assumptions.
I don't want to make any enemies.
I don't want to get shot.
All right, Dio Brando, dude, this guy's a fucking meme. Okay, let me just set it straight. Like, Dio is a fucking meme. This dude is not pathetic. He's in foul. Like, at least, like, he has the same thing where, like, oh my fucking god, he's so stupid. In part 1, which is the worst part of JoJo, he the main character Jonathan, like, his family takes in Dio because, like, his family died or some shit and he was an orphan, and, like, but his dad was also, like, super crazy and, like, abused him or something, so whatever, who cares. But then he's just, like, an asshole who, like, hates Jonathan for whatever reason, I guess. But then, like, when they grow up, like, when they become adults, Dio, like, for, like, years and years and years, like, puts on an act that he likes Jonathan, but at the same time, he's, like, then he just, like, turns on him for whatever reason. It's whatever. He becomes a vampire, cool, fine, who cares? It's really fucking stupid. People like him because of part 3, but even then in part 3, he's a fucking meme. It's just, like, people just like him for, like, iconography's sake, you know what I mean? Because he has a lot of cool lines, and he says cool shit, but, like, I don't know. For the most part, it's the same kind of thing with, like, Acnologia, where, like, over the course of, like, part 3, he's super threatening, because, like, you just hear a lot about him, and, like, he sends a bunch of, like, his minions after the main group of heroes. But, like, dude, who cares? Dio is not interesting at all. He's cool, I guess. He does some cool shit. So, you know what? Maybe I'll bump him up to Wicked for that, because at least he's kind of cool. He has a really cool design, but then they, like, fuck it up for whatever reason. Like, they change his design in the middle of his fight with Jotaro. For whatever reason, I don't know why. And his design looks significantly worse.
Okay, I don't understand JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and I won't pretend to even, like, think about this, so I'll just accept.
I don't know if I've like, publicly put it on the record before, but, like, I have such a contentious relationship with JoJo's as, like, a series, because, like, part 1 and part 2 suck dick. I hate I watched them and I was like, this is probably some of the most boring shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Especially part 1. Part 2 is a little better, but, like, part 1 made me want to blow my fucking brains out. It's, like, 8 episodes long or some shit like that, and I wanted to kill myself through that entire thing.
I'm surprised you powered through.
It was 8 episodes, dude. Like, in fact, I didn't power through, because after, like, 3 episodes, I stopped watching and didn't come back to it for, like, a year and a half. So, like, yeah. Part 2 is a little tiny bit better, but even then, I didn't give a shit about any of it. Part 3, for the most part, is fine, but, like, it drags on in a lot of places. They make a lot of really weird decisions. The main character, Jotaro, is, like, not really featured a lot. They focus on other characters more than the main character. Like, he's just kind of, like, this stoic badass that beats the shit out of people, and then, like, that's it. Like, that's all he does. But then, like, part 4 is, like, actually one of my favorite things of all time.
Paradoxical.
Yeah, so, like, everything about part 4 I am entirely in love with, and I fucking adore it. But every part before, and I've barely seen any of part 5, but I wasn't too impressed with it.
So Wicked?
So yeah, Wicked. The Emperor from
Charles
V. Britannia.
V. Britannia.
From Code Geass.
So Charles, I don't know if you remember his motivation, but it's basically he grew up in Britannia, which was there where there were brutal succession struggles. People were trying to kill each other all the time for the throne, and he hated it. Everybody basically, because he was a kid, would lie to him about whether he was like what had happened to other people who had died, or he just lived in a world that was constantly dangerous and constantly full of people who never told the truth. Everybody had a mask on because everybody was trying to become the emperor, or trying to kill the emperor, whatever.
Are people still not, like, I thought people were still trying to kill him when he was in power. Are they not?
So his rule of succession is that his successor has to kill him.
Oh, okay.
He literally lays it down. His entire philosophy, well, I suspect he's faking it.
Yeah.
But his philosophy, as shown, is you have to be the strongest, so you have to kill me and take my place.
Yeah. Which Lelouch does.
Yeah, which Lelouch actually does. So that's Charles's philosophy. He makes a pact with his brother. He says, we're going to create a world where there are no lies, where there's no death.
Yeah.
And where we can just live in peace. And so he sets out basically using this, I don't know, thought. He calls it a thought elevator. Mm-hmm. I assume he's trying to basically, what he's trying to create is a world where everybody who died comes back and where it is impossible to lie. I assume everyone's sort of consciousness is like merged and interchangeable, so you know what the truth is. And so Lelouch rejects that as a world that's unchanging and stagnant, which is correct.
Yeah.
But I mean, he also rejects it in part because he thinks Charles is a bad father. Because at the end of it all, when Charles confronts Lelouch,
he is his literal father, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, just making sure.
He basically says to him, I was doing everything so that we would all live in a better world. And Lelouch says, you sacrificed me and Nunnally to create this.
Yeah.
Which he's kind of a hypocrite, because he's basically saying the ends don't justify the means. You were willing to say, well, he does the same thing. But I guess his point is that Charles is acting out of selfishness. He's creating that world for himself.
Yeah.
Not for anyone else, whatever he says. Whereas Lelouch basically proves in the end that he did everything for everyone else because, he's not fucking around to experience it. So they cast it as Charles is pushing the past and Lelouch is pushing the future. Schneisel is pushing the present, but we don't care about Schneisel.
Until later when he's on this list. And we get to him eventually.
But anyway, Charles is the past. And I think in terms of motivations, I think I understand his motivations better than I... Even though I don't exactly understand... I don't think he understands that a stagnant world... He doesn't see that isn't a world at all. Also... kills just countless numbers of people to achieve this. He doesn't give a shit.
Droves and droves of people. Isn't he the one who completely demolishes Japan?
Oh yeah,
and
wipes it out with nightmares.
Yeah,
and then just starts conquering the entire fucking world. Yeah, why not? But I think his motivations are understandable coming from where he did, even though I agree that he is wrong, and I think Lelouch was right to basically reject him. I mean, I guess, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But throughout the series, he's constantly a threat. He's constantly, he's in charge of he's basically above everything. He sends viceroys to do stuff. He doesn't give a shit about what's going on.
Yeah.
He's so above it all and so powerful. He's not afraid of being assassinated. He's just go ahead. I literally dare you to kill me.
Yeah, and I remember, I remember, when Lelouch was, constantly, fucking up his shit, he didn't give a fuck about Lelouch. He did not care.
He did not care.
He thought Lelouch was, some stupid idiot asshole who was just, all right, he's he's a rebellion leader. Whatever, we'll deal with him eventually. And, just didn't care.
Remember the massive rebellion that destroyed all of Britannia's control of Japan briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fucking inconvenience to John. A minor inconvenience. He rewrote Lelouch's memory, and then he was like, cool, I'm done with this. And then he kept doing what he was doing. He didn't give a shit that just countless tens of thousands of people, Britannians, all dead.
Yeah.
He didn't give a shit.
He didn't care.
He is a monstrous presence. And I think for me, he's insidious, bordering on Bamf. He is a badass I mean, he's dangerous.
Yeah.
Lelouch shoots him, and then he literally gets up and he's like, wow, your bullets don't work on me. Fuck you. And Lelouch is like clawing at his face. He's like, what the fuck is happening? At least Insidious for me. He's a monstrous presence, and for what it's worth, he's kind of, like, where he's coming from is understandable. I understand what he's trying to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't understand what the thought elevator is, but I know what he's trying to do.
I get what he's trying to do. Alright, that makes sense.
But yeah.
As Death from Akame ga Kill, the one you fucking wanted on this list. Why? What is there to say about her? You know what I mean?
Okay.
As Death is like, she's just like a pawn. Even she's not even like a real villain. She's a pawn of the Emperor.
She isn't really though. She only serves the Emperor because she gets to fight people.
Yeah, but that's still, even that's it.
But her whole thing is, yeah, I could overthrow the Emperor at any time.
Yeah.
But his corrupt rule engenders violence, and I love violence, so I'm just gonna keep fighting for the Emperor. And the thing about Esdeath is, she's a massive waste. Because, like, they could do something with that.
Yeah.
They could explore, like, her choices and how, like, her upbringing in, like, this northern tribe where strength was everything. If you died, you were just too weak. They really could have done more with that.
Yeah, but, like, the second half of Akame ga Kill, where, like, she's the most prevalent, like, super falls flat.
Oh, yeah, honestly, the whole series is kind of a bum.
Yeah, I mean...
It's kind of a dud.
Yeah.
Esdeath is, like...
lots of wasted potential.
I wish it had been more. She's just foul.
Yeah, I like, she's
the most interesting of the terrible caricature villains in that show, but that's not saying much.
The most interesting of the terrible character villains in that show is the other dude that has the same armor.
Waver?
Yeah, Waver.
Wave or whatever his name. I don't even really consider him a villain.
I mean, I don't.
Although I guess he is.
I mean, technically he is, but because he opposes, Night Raid. But at the same time, like, you super totally get what he's about, and he's really sympathetic. And, like, I liked him more than half the main characters, so... Actually, most of the main characters, probably.
That's fair. No,
he might have been my favorite character.
His relationship with What's-Her-Face's sister was extremely interesting, as he was basically like, you don't have to be this fucking deranged assassin anymore. Yeah. I love you unconditionally. You don't have to, like, live this life anymore. Yeah. Because her sister's whole point is that she's Kurame. Yeah. Her whole point is that I'm useless if I can't fight. Yeah, fight. That's why she takes drugs and is slowly killing herself.
Yeah, that's also why she's like, all I want to do is kill Akame.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But, like... yeah, that's all I have to say. That's an interesting team. I really like some of those characters.
Yeah, some of those characters.
Whole series...
If
your fucking rebel force is called the Rebel Army, fuck you. Generic piece of shit.
Alright, Father from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, specifically. Because that's the only one you've seen. And I can't fucking say a lot about this guy, because it's been too long since I've seen Brotherhood. But for the most part, I remember he was like, I don't know, he was fine, I guess. He never really struck me as like a really super threatening, powerful villain who had like a really great motivation. You know what I mean? It was kind of just like, I don't even remember all that much. Like he was just like a guy who wanted to be God, basically, right? Like,
I thought he always struck me as like godlike, but not like his motivation doesn't really like it's not really anything interesting, or it's just I want to know everything or become God or whatever he was trying to do. But he did always strike me as someone ridiculously threatening.
Yeah.
And pretty because when he meets Edward and Alphonse, he's like, "Let me take care of that arm for you," and he just fucking heals him like it's nothing.
Yeah.
He's like, "Sorry about that," and then they attack him, and he's like, "Can you fucking stop? Like, can you? You're embarrassing yourself."
Yeah. I mean, fuck. Let's put him in Wicked, I guess. Right? Maybe Dastardly. I mean, I just don't remember a lot about him.
I think he's in Dastardly.
I'm leaning on you for this one.
I'd say Wicked just because it's like, yeah, he's threatening. Yeah, the entire thing where it's like he's trying to destroy an entire king and just ascend to interesting, very threatening.
Yeah.
An interesting backdrop for the story. But it was always the other villains who really were more interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like all the sins.
Yeah,
the fact
like
that
lust
he purged
and greed and
all those guys.
envy. Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, even though I love FMA.
I didn't he like hate Truth or whatever? Like the quote unquote God character of the series, Truth?
I don't know if he hated Truth, but he wanted to supplant and or like absorb Truth.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember thinking that was cool and interesting, but again, it's been super long since I've seen Brotherhood or the original series even. Should probably go back and watch them at some point. But yeah, he's in Wicked for now. Frieza. Frieza, 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 Frieza! Oh, yeah! Frieza's awesome. I'd put him in Insidious, honestly.
His presence is actually
just the even just the sheer presence of the character. Like what they're doing with him now in like Super and like the new Broly movie, like actually fuck that. But in the original series,
fuck that.
He was so fucking cool.
And so dangerous. Like the Ginyu Force, these unstoppable freaks of nature show up. And
like
you know
Raccoon,
they're like we're nothing.
That previously like Goku fought Vegeta and like they went back and forth, but like Goku is still like wasn't as strong as Vegeta was, and then the Ginyu Force show up and Vegeta is pissed scared of them. Like he is terrified of the Ginyu Force. So like once
this guy who's so proud of his Saiyan heritage is like, we'll die if we fight them.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And so like he gets bodied by Raccoon and then like
he blew off his armor.
Yeah. Whatever. Who cares?
Here's my strongest attack. Oh, my armor is gone.
Barely affects him.
My bad.
But then like, you know, Goku shows up and like just fucking basically one-shots him, and you're like, whoa, how strong is Goku now? But then when you like really put it in perspective and it's like, holy shit, like Frieza is like leagues above these guys. Like absolutely miles and miles and miles above these guys. So like just like the sheer presence and tension of worrying about Frieza constantly and just his like sheer domination of every situation that he's in. Like he's just like kill these villagers because they don't. I'm taking the Dragon Ball and we're killing you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean his motivations are just be an evil space emperor, be immortal, which I mean, it's basic, but it does the job. And frankly, I think his motivations are kind of immaterial compared to what because like Vegeta clashes with him, and then he's like, oh, my bad. Let me just transform for you.
Yeah.
Let me show you something interesting before you inevitably die.
Yeah, and you're like, holy shit.
And then
fucking epic. Like,
final transformation, Goku shows up. We're like, all right, Goku's a god. He's gonna fight, like, he's gonna give this guy a run.
Yeah.
Frieza just kicks him around.
He is demonstrably
he doesn't give a shit.
Stronger than Goku.
Kaioken times 20!
And
does fucking nothing!
Just fucking, like, just smacks the Kamehameha away, and you're like, oh my god, like, holy shit.
And then Goku's like, oh, Kaioken times 20. undoubtedly the strongest thing I have,
literally
did nothing.
Literally didn't do anything.
Frieza's like, oh, and I'm still at half power, by the way. Just, thought I'd let you know. And you're just like, okay, so they're... And then he throws a spirit bomb at him.
And he fucking tanks it.
and Frieza's just like, fuck you, I'm still alive.
Yeah. Again, Frieza, and again, Frieza was back in the 80s or 90s. So, really, really early shonen, but, even still, his motivations are basic, but, god damn, the iconography of this character is overwhelming. He's so cool.
Very well executed.
Yeah.
Probably the best execution of those basic motivations you could have done.
So, good shit.
Insidious.
Gendo Ikari from Evangelion. You recently finished Eva.
Correct.
For the first time. I recently rewatched it for, the third time. So... I want to get your impression, because we haven't actually had, a ton of time to talk about Ava. So I want to get, your impressions on the character overall, you know what I mean?
My impression of Gendo. I don't necessarily understand a lot about him.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like he's very single-minded and focused on his goals, whatever that is. He doesn't really care about people, or he just sort of... He sets out to do something, and he's basically single-minded in that pursuit. Anything that's not useful to him is tossed aside. He does not care about it. Everything to him is just a tool to reach an end. And if you're not useful to him, then you're a tool to reach an end.
Yeah.
So... And
it's also, how you see him getting to that point, you know what I mean? How you see him go from, in love with his wife and his son and, having a child, and is he seems like a pretty good guy, to all these experiments that he's doing completely going wrong, and not going wrong, but just losing his wife as who was basically everything to him, and is just he just kind of turns from there.
I don't think I ever saw him as a good guy, though. Even when he was with his wife, he was kind of shadowy and kind of roguish. Yeah,
you
mysterious.
never really see him as he is an enigma almost. You never really see him as an okay guy. You never see him as a stalwart of human ingenuity, but as what he's trying to preach.
There's so much mysterious about him too. I think I've said this before, but I don't know why he's in charge over all these scientists.
Yeah.
He isn't very obviously a scientist or has some important role in it, but he is in command, and Seal trusts him to do a lot of this shit.
Well, to some extent, he is a scientist, you know what I mean?
I guess he has to be. He was in university or something.
Yeah. But so also,
he was doing something.
Yeah, also, his, maybe he's just, they just, because he feels so commanding, he has that presence.
Unpleasant is the word I would use to describe him.
Unpleasant. We should have made that
even before...
Unpleasant.
Even before Yui dies, he strikes me as a very, sour character.
Yeah.
But after he dies, he just,
completely goes...
gone.
Yeah.
He's also trying to achieve the human instrumentality project, which it's the merging of everyone's consciousness. Is that right?
Yeah, basically.
Which I don't really understand. Is it to make everyone happy? But what's the point of happiness if you're all...
See, because, the main series never really delves super into it. And I know... From what I remember, the end of Ava does, and I get I rewatched you watched Ava and I rewatched it, but I've only seen the end of Ava one time, and I don't remember a lot about it. But in the main series, he's always it's never really stated what his super overarching motivation is, you know what I mean, for doing everything that he's doing. But at the same time, you get like this feeling of like almost like you get this feeling of like dread that like whatever he's doing, like it can't be good.
The thing is though,
and
like,
then once you find out, sorry to cut you off, but like once
no,
you find out like that he's literally merging people's consciousnesses together, you're kind of just like left like why, and like the series never really explains why because it was rushed.
like, I guess he's unhappy, but I mean, I just don't understand exactly what is... Like, he seems like someone who lacks empathy
Yeah.
at that point. So why would he even bother with what he's trying to do?
Well, like, you know, bringing up the lack of empathy thing is a good point because, like, again, like what he's trying to do, I don't know, it doesn't really make sense in the main series, but like all the characters comparatively are like searching for, you know, this emotion of like love and caring, and that this empathy, and Gendo completely lacks that and it's just like business is business. So like him being like completely antithetical to the character arcs itself makes sense, but like again, like even I was rewatching it and I was like, yeah, what is he doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
What's your take on him?
I like Gendo a lot. I would put him in Dastardly just because like his impact and like his presence, and his interactions with other characters, like I totally get it. And I get what his like purpose thematically in the story is, but again, like his motivation itself always struck me as like, what? You know what I mean? And maybe End of Ava makes more sense of it. Maybe the Rebuild movies make more sense of it. I haven't seen any of those. So like, yeah, that's it. Do you think Dastardly? Because that's where I'm thinking.
For me, he's between Dastardly and Wicked. I just feel like if the series had been completed, I feel like my understanding would be better. But for me, just that lack of understanding prevents me from really putting him any higher than Dastardly or Wicked.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Gilgamesh. You fucking talk about this one. I don't know. You fucking talk about. I don't know shit about Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh is the archer servant summoned by Tosaka's father. Basically is the unbeatable servant. He's the king of heroes. He can summon the original form of everyone's noble phantasm and shoot it at you with the force of 1,000 suns. And also he can shoot 1,000,000 of them at you at once. So like, this guy's unstoppable. He turns on his master in Zero. And Kodomine kills him, and Kodomine becomes his new master. Okay. What is his motivation? Well, he's extremely vain and arrogant. He's like everything a king should not be. He's like the antithesis of this fucking arrogant king.
Yeah.
Which is kind of contrasted with King Arthur or whatever, Saber. Who's this very dutiful, very honorable person. Yeah. And a lot of the other heroes are honorable as well. Some of the Irish spearmen are like, they have a warrior code. Gilgamesh doesn't care about any of that shit. He's just like, I just want trophies and you are nothing compared to me.
And like thinking about it, that makes sense, I guess, because like the juxtaposition of like all these heroes, quote unquote, fighting for their masters who have like these codes and like this honor and this nobleness around them, and then like the king of heroes being Gilgamesh is just like, fuck you guys, I don't give a shit.
He doesn't care. He's just so strong that he's like, you're all below me.
Yeah.
None of you are my equal. You're all pathetic. And if I want, and the only thing he sees in Arthur or Saber, one of the strongest servants, is just, you are a trophy to be possessed and controlled by me. So I think he's kind of interesting. And his powers are ridiculous.
Dude, okay.
They're actually absurd.
No joke. Like, I don't like Fate. But, like, Gilgamesh, one, his design is super cool. He's one of the best designs in the series. And also his fucking powers where he just, like, he's like, whatever, and then opens up, like, all these fucking little golden portals that are shooting weapons at people. That is so fucking cool.
Dude, as soon as he kills Hercules in Unlimited Blade Works, you know shit's gone haywire. Because Hercules is depicted as actually unstoppable.
Yeah, he was like a monster.
And he took him apart like it was the easiest thing he ever did. He was like, you are nothing.
Yeah.
So Gilgamesh, and then he pulls out this sword when the Holy Grail tries to absorb him, and he's like, you're naughty. And then the sword, like, explodes with energy and fucking whacks the Holy Grail away, and it's like, and Shiro's like, I don't know what he's holding. I am a sword, and I don't know what the fuck he's holding. Literally, it's primordial. So Gilgamesh, for me, is he dastardly or is he wicked? He's pretty threatening, but he's like, yeah, he's dastardly.
Yeah.
Do I want to put him in dastardly, though, or Kotomine? I guess they could both be there, but they're kind of inseparable. Those two are like the core of... He's not really the core of Zero, but he's definitely the core of...
Stay Night.
Unlimited Blade Works and Stay Night.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why he wants the Grail. I guess... Oh, he wanted to come back to life.
Oh, really? Is that it?
Yeah.
Why? Wouldn't he just die again?
Because he wants to take over the world again and be king again. Which... I think he wanted to be immortal. I'm sorry. He wanted to come back and be immortal and just be king of everything again.
Yeah.
And he said, because you guys are all pathetic and worthless, I'll pave over your civilization and show you how it's done. Is his point.
I'll pave over your civilization.
So, yeah, I guess that's pretty dastardly.
Yeah, alright. Cool. Hisoka, I don't know if he has a last name, does he? Probably not.
Probably, but I don't remember it.
I don't know. I'd put him in Wicked. Like, it's just there's something creepy about him.
Creepy clown man,
you know what I mean? But, like...
Sticky Nen?
Sticky boy. I never got the impression that, like... I mean... of course, he's supposed to be taken seriously, and he is threatening, but, like, I never got the impression that he was, like, a really important villain, I guess? You know what I mean? Like, he's a threat to Gon just because he wants to see Gon, like, get stronger and then fight him. But, like, I don't know if he, like, wants to kill Gon, or, like, if he's just, like, obsessed with Gon and, like, just this, like, it makes him feel good to fight him. I don't know. I don't know.
He just wants to see Gon become strong and then kill him. He wants to kill him.
Does he want to kill Gon?
I think he wants to kill him, but when he's strong.
But
like
when he's super strong, at his strongest. Got it.
Which, I mean, if Gon was actually at his strongest, I'm pretty sure he would destroy Hisoka. But whatever, it's not that important.
Because he fucking demolishes Pito or whatever, right?
He literally made it look like it was the easiest thing he ever done.
Yeah, it was just like a scrap of paper.
And Pito was...
She killed Kai.
Unchallengeable.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Netero could have, like, beat her square.
Really?
I think he would have been in the same situation he was with Meruem. Maybe he could have held her off for longer.
Yeah.
But I think eventually he probably would have lost.
I thought that was a pretty even fight.
I think Netero said, I can't beat her. Okay, I don't really think it was an even fight. I think Meruem was always much stronger. It was just a question of how long can Netero hold. Because Meruem, Netero's thing is faster than Meruem.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily stronger than him. Like, he wasn't doing any damage.
It's just like a fly.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? Buzzing around and you're like, oh, fuck.
Like, he was hitting him, but it wasn't doing anything.
Like a really
Meruem,
big fly.
but Meruem was just like, yeah, I'll just keep taking it until he makes a mistake, and then he loses because, I mean, he's not doing any damage to me, and I can do a lot of fucking damage to him. So, yeah.
Alright. Yeah.
But
all
yeah,
right.
Hisoka.
Yeah, Hisoka. Because I was literally like, who the fuck were we talking about again? Because yeah, he's wicked to me. Do you think he might be higher?
He's cool. He has a lot of cool fights with Gon. I'm not really sure what his motivation is outside of, like, a desire to, like, an Esdeath-like desire to fight things and grow stronger. I mean,
he just kind of exists, you know what I mean?
His fight with Gon is one of the coolest fights I've ever seen, but also I'm just like...
He helps them on Greed Island?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're like...
Is he a super interesting, like, villain, though?
Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't know. Like, he's one of those characters that, like, everybody's like, oh my god, you know, Hunter x Hunter is great, look at Hisoka, he's so cool, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, he's fine. He's wicked. Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't really think of anything outside of him of that. Jiren, whatever.
Can you put him in pathetic?
Jiren.
Thank you.
Jiren is absolutely... Jiren might be the worst addition to the franchise ever.
Does
like,
anybody
actually
remember...
one of the worst additions to the franchise.
Do you remember Ed, Edd and Eddy? So...
Yeah.
There was a character who carried a plank around with him. And, like, I don't want to say that Jiren has actually less personality than the plank with a face drawn on it. But, I mean, he basically has less personality than Plank from Ed, Edd and Eddy. Like, the plank with a face drawn on it that did nothing.
Dude, what a callback to our Gridman podcast. What a callback. Yeah. You remember that? Yeah, no.
Does anything need to be said?
Like,
literally.
I don't... What? Like, I don't even know what his powers were. You know what I mean?
Just, he's
like,
super
he
strong.
He does something with his eyes, and it's like, okay, eye powers. Like, what's happening? I don't get it. He beats up everybody, though, so, like, who cares?
Wow, he's so strong.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't care. Jiren actually one of the worst additions to the franchise. He is worse than anything in GT. I don't care what anyone says. He's worse. Like, Jiren is, oh my god, anything that they've ever done in GT is like substantially better than Jiren. Like, fuck this guy. Anyway. Kayaba Akihiko.
That's Kayaba.
Kayaba. Or is when he's standing over the sunset. Dude, I don't know, man. Foul, maybe? Can I give him any credit?
Okay, can we just talk about his motivations for a second? First episode,
okay.
He says, my purpose is already complete. I just wanted to create a world like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Why? Just to see if you could?
He forgot.
Like, what?
He forgot, dude. That was the motivation. He forgot.
He forgot his Then why is he still alive?
He's not. He had downloaded his consciousness into the internet.
But why? But why did he do that?
Because I don't know. He forgot.
I forgot. Why did I do that? I don't know.
Because he forgot.
Even Kayaba doesn't remember why the fuck he's still alive.
Dude, what a fucking meme, dude. He's so...
And then he becomes Heathcliff because
he wants to play his own game, apparently.
But why does he want it? But why?
Dude, I don't know. Kirito
why?
is just like, I know you're Kayaba because 1, you're cheating, you have access to whatever the fuck, and 2, what creator of his own game doesn't want to play his own game? You know?
Almost every creator, but that's kind of beside the point.
Fuck this guy.
Okay, but even more than that, like... Isn't Kirito such an arrogant asshole? You beat me, therefore you're cheating. Like, are you fucking around? But anyway, this character, his motivations don't make any fucking sense. He's not threatening because the threat is the game, not him. He's not even doing anything.
in fact, he's helping them.
He's literally helping.
He was
them.
just gonna turn on them at the last on the, like at the final floor or whatever at the like he was supposed to be the 100th boss.
But then like who cares? Like what? Like a what? What? Nothing about Kaiba makes sense.
What an arrogant asshole! Oh, you beat me. That means you. That was really funny. Oh my fucking god! All right, I don't care about him anymore.
Fuck Kaiba.
I put him on this list because of the memes. All right, King Bradley. You take this one. I don't remember a lot about this guy besides the fact that he was cool as shit and his fight with Scar is awesome as fuck.
King Bradley's interesting. He's the king or the Fuhrer or whatever.
Yeah,
of
he's the
kingdom.
Fuhrer.
And he was so he's the only non-created homunculi. He was human, and then he got injected with a stone.
Yeah.
And he was the one who survived the procedure, became basically the Fuhrer, and like...
Wasn't he the one that started the Ishvalan War?
Yes.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
What's fascinating about him is that he doesn't... Like, he's the embodiment of wrath, but for a lot of it, he jokes around.
Yeah, he's kind of like a cool guy.
Yeah, he's kind of like very controlled, and yet...
But he's like, he's just putting on an act.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He seems like the most balanced of the homunculi.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one who's just like, I have a job to do, and I will not only do it, but kill you all. He literally walks up to a palace. His palace, he's like, did they really expect me not to go through the front door of my own house?
Yeah.
And then he just rips through all of them,
Yeah,
kills all of them.
Doesn't he rip through a tank? Like, he just blows up a tank?
He slices a shell in half.
Yeah.
He's like, nope, your guns don't work on me.
Yeah. And everybody's like terrified and just like scrambling, and he's like, come
Literally,
here.
battalions of soldiers just get eviscerated by the man. His motivations, I mean, he's just serving the father.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have really any motivations of his own. Although, for what it's worth, I think he's interesting. Because at the end, he's sort of like... I think he reflects on humanity in his fight with Scar.
Yeah.
He's like, you're weak, so why do you keep fighting? And he just sort of... And in the end, when he loses, he's just like... Okay. He just sort of accepts it. He's not very wrathful.
Yeah.
All things considered. He always seems very controlled, but there's no doubt.
I think the aspect of wrath comes from the fact that, like, he's the wrath of father, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, by all accounts and purposes, he's the strongest one.
There is no doubt. Well, I guess you could debate whether he or Pride were stronger.
Yeah.
But
By
even
the way, like...
Father purged himself of his pride, and then he was still trying to become God. A little bit of a plot hole, wouldn't you say? Fuck.
I mean, maybe.
I think Pride might have been slightly strong, but it's debatable.
Yeah, it's debatable.
Father was definitely second strongest, if not the strongest.
Yeah.
For sure. He made Greed look pathetic as he just ripped them apart.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I'm gonna put him up in Dastardly.
I think he's dastardly.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him up in Dastardly. Okay, Yoshikage Kira. He is the main antagonist of JoJo Part 4, which I love. Dude, I mean, like, the best thing about Kira is that, Kira is a murderer. He kidnaps women, he kills them, he cuts off their hands, and then he keeps their hands. He's a completely fucking deranged psychopath. But, his main goal is, just to live in the town. The town is called Morio. And, he just wants to live there and, lead a peaceful life. That's it. That's all he wants to do. But he's, killing people and doing all this shit. And, he's fucking weird. One of his biggest, not motivations, but, the thing that he does the most is like he never wants to stand out. He just wants to be like this normal dude that just lives there. So like people like will ask him like, hey, like Kira, do you want to like go? Like his coworkers will be like, hey, do you want to go hang out? We're gonna go to blah blah blah. And he's like, nah, you know, I have other shit to do. Thanks anyway. Blah blah blah, this and that. And then he'll go to a park and like sit down and eat a sandwich. But like while he's eating a sandwich, he pulls out the dead hand of some woman that he kidnapped. Like this literal severed hand, and he'll hold the sandwich in the severed hand and then eat the sandwich while the hand is holding it. And you're like, dude, this guy's fucking weird. But like everything, like he is the entire reason why like Morio is like this just weird, just like obscure, fucked up town that people are like nobody really knows what it's about, you know what I mean? People who go there are like, yeah, it's just like strange, it's just weird. That and the fact that like a bunch of Stan users are there for no reason. Because like for years and years and years, like he's just been killing people, and he's very precise about everything. Like he clips his toenail, or not his toenails, his fingernails down to like a certain degree, and then he like keeps them in like jars and stuff like that, and like he's just almost to the point of like OCD. Like he's super methodical and planned out, and like when the heroes finally figure out like who he is, he does everything he possibly can to get like his normal life back. Like he steals another dude's face. He completely changes his hair, and like his he basically masquerades as another dude. Yeah, he's super cool, super interesting. And he's just like he's literally just like a normal guy who just kills people, you know what I mean? Like he just wants to live a good life. So like I think he's an Insidious because like the whole show is like it's like a murder mystery, because they're trying to figure out like who's doing it, and like once they've gotten like a slight hint of it being Kira, like the whole everything around Kira just like collapses in on itself, and he's like, I will not let my normal life go. Like this, you're not gonna stop me from this happening. Like even the way he dies, like he dies in like well, first of all, his head gets run over by an ambulance, so like lol, that's funny. Like his neck gets completely snapped. But, like,
irony.
Yeah, but like one of the girls he kills is like a ghost, and she basically comes back and is helping the heroes. But when he meets her in like the quote unquote afterlife, there's this like weird thing about the afterlife where it's like you can't turn around on a certain street in the afterlife, or like you'll literally get dragged to hell by demons. And like you like he fucks up, and it happens to him, and the way he's just like, oh my god, like he's just getting dragged away. It's like one of the most horrifying things you can fucking see. But yeah, he's fucking super awesome and cool, and I love part 4. So yeah. The Kishin from Soul Eater. Fuck, I'm thinking Wicked. I'm thinking Wicked about this guy. You've seen Soul Eater, right?
No.
Okay. The
It's
Kishin.
like, what's he got, a Sharingan on his head?
He's got some weird eye.
He's got an eye.
The Kishin is just a character that basically he makes people go crazy. And he was like sealed away for the longest time, but then he gets released. He's basically the embodiment of fear. And fear makes people go crazy. They call it the Kishin's madness, and it affects like so many characters, even main characters. Like it affects them, and they go crazy. But like that's cool. But like the Kishin himself isn't really interesting. He's kind of just a dude that's like, yeah, I want to kill Death. Like I want to kill Lord Death, because Death is like in charge of everything basically. He's like, I want to kill Lord Death and everybody who serves under him. So like, fuck you guys. So yeah, he's all right. He's not anything super memorable. Like the theme, like because a big theme in Soul Eater is bravery, and so like him being like the embodiment of fear. At least a theme for the main character Maka. Her character arc is becoming brave, or learning how to be brave, I guess, and being the embodiment of fear, and her overcoming that is like the whole idea of it. Yeah, the end of Soul Eater is kind of scuffed, but like I really like it. A lot of people don't though. They're like the manga's a lot better, and I'm like, oh no, I still like the anime a lot. So like whatever. Next we have Knives from Trigun.
That guy looks like Archer.
Another. Oh yeah, he kind of does look like Archer.
It's weird, but
he's another. That Trigun's another show that you haven't watched, right?
I haven't watched.
Yeah. I'm gonna put him in Dastardly. See, the thing about Knives is that he only appears a few times throughout the series. Like the main character Vash fights him at the very end. He's his brother. And so like they have a long history with each other. Basically like Vash and Knives are like these like weird plant people that like live like a super long time. And Knives grows up and like hates humanity. He thinks they're like scum and weak and like he's better. Which he is, but like
he is.
I mean, he is.
Justified.
Like, genetically, he is technically better than them. But Vash is like, no, we should live in peace and harmony with humanity. So, like, Knives is always, like, again, like, this looming presence throughout the series. And Vash is always, like, trying to find him. Although, if I remember correctly, Vash was, like, scared of him for, like, the longest time until Knives, like, started sending people after Vash to kill him. Even though he knew it wasn't going to work. Like, he was like, yeah, Vash will probably just kill these guys, but, like, whatever, go after him anyway. So, yeah. But Knives as a character is, like, as a foil to Vash itself, he's really cool and interesting because they're brothers, and like he's like just this like overwhelming force that like nobody can deal with except for Vash, and even Vash is terrified of him. So yeah, and he plays like a big part in Vash's past and stuff like that. So the more you find out about it, the more like interesting Knives becomes. But like you see like flashbacks of him, but like you don't really see like Knives until like the very very end of the series. But even then, he's super impactful and cool and memorable and awesome. So yeah. Fucking other Fate Stay Night guy.
Oh, this is Kirei.
Is this Kirei? Yeah, this is.
So, Kirei originally is a church executor in Zero. Basically, people the church sends out to basically deal with situations they don't like, aka end lives and careers. They're mage killers.
Wait, so he's part of the church?
Yeah,
and they're
his
just
dad's
like,
a priest.
They're just like, fuck all these like mages, go kill them.
Well, only if they only send them out to deal with like rogue mages. They're in league with mages. Them. Yeah.
Okay.
So the whole thing, the plot is, the Tosakas are in league with the church. They're like partnered with the church, and his father's like, you help this dude out to win. Because, you know, we're supporting their bid for the Holy Grail. Yeah. So you are going to throw yourself away for him. His original servant is Assassin. Assassin is killed, I believe, in some sort of ambush. Because Assassin it was pretty weak as far as servants go.
Yeah.
Okay. Gilgamesh and Kirei start talking because Gilgamesh's master is off doing something. And Gilgamesh basically says he's trying to figure out what Kirei likes, what he's interested in, what makes him tick. And Kirei's just like, I just don't care. There's a massive emptiness inside me. I literally couldn't give less of a
Jesus.
shit. And Gilgamesh is like, and Kirei's like, but I do feel some satisfaction from killing people.
Yeah.
And Gilgamesh is like, that's interesting. You're an interesting guy. Maybe you should be my master. And he's like, hey, if you wanted to kill my master, I wouldn't do anything about it. In case you want to just figure out what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And Kirei's like, I don't really have anything better to do. And then he just...
I don't have anything better to do.
He literally kills Tosaka. He's like, you are a fucking weak old man. And you're dead, and I'm Gilgamesh's master now. By the way, do you remember the assassin who's Saber's master? So this professional assassin who's been through countless battles, he's looking through all these amazing mages. He gets to Kirei, he's like, this person is undoubtedly the most dangerous person on this list of people. He's constantly like... And then, so Kirei's the final boss.
Yeah.
He's the last master
Zero.
That what's his face? Emiya? What's his name? Kiritsugu? Kiritsugu has to kill. And Kiritsugu's fight with him, Kirei pulls out these fucking Wolverine claws, and it just starts getting ridiculous. He is so abominably strong. He's so fast, and every single punch of Kirei is meant to kill a man. Yeah. It's meant to hit a vital spot.
Jesus Christ, okay.
Because he literally crushes Kiritsugu's heart, and then starts walking away, because he's like, that's the end of the battle. He's dead. I won. The only way he survived was by regenerating it with the sheath of Excalibur. That keeps him alive, because otherwise he would have lost right there.
Oh, that's the thing he puts in Shiro, right?
So to put this in perspective, the guy's so fast and strong that literally it takes a guy who can slow down time to even fight him and regenerate fatal wounds to do absolutely anything to him.
Wait, that's Kiritsugu's power? He can slow down time?
Triple XL is him slowing down time, basically.
Oh, okay.
The problem with it is that it slows down his own heartbeat or something, so he can't use it too often or he'll die, but he needs to use it against this guy.
Yeah, it's like the Rolo from Code Geass, right?
Yeah.
Where he stops time, but he also stops his heart for however long.
But I don't think he's stopping other people's perceptions of time. He's literally slowing everything down so he can move faster.
Yeah.
But so the only reason Kirei is threatening is because the guy who we are looking at as the protagonist, who's so strong, he is Saber, he's a fucking mage killer, assassin.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the most dangerous person. Yeah. Here, by far.
And also he gets demolished immediately by him.
Oh yeah. He just crushes his heart. And it's just like, oh my fucking god. It's brutal. So undoubtedly his motivation's kind of weird. It's kind of wacky. It's not by any stretch, it's not really understandable. He's just sort of he's a human being who just feels like emptiness and sort of despair, I guess. Yeah. And he's just, later in Fate, he plays a role, it depends what route you have, but he plays a role where he's just the master of Gilgamesh. He's just this dude who wants to destroy everything. He's not that interesting. I say put him in Wicked.
Because even Wicked, after you just talked about how fucking awesome and cool he was.
Even though he's cool and he's threatening, I just think his motivations and his role later is much less interesting than his role in Zero.
He's not a big part of Stay Night, right?
He's a big part at the end.
Okay.
Depending on he can
But-
get killed early,
But like,
but
oh,
like,
okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Like,
it just depends. He just doesn't have as interesting a role in it as he did in Zero. Like that was
because he was like one of the main antagonists of Zero.
He was
Yeah.
the main antagonist,
Yeah.
along with Gilgamesh, and his evolution from just sort of servant of the church to just I'm in it to find for myself, and also I'm a god. I'm literally unstoppable.
I'm literally a god. Yeah.
So he's verging on dastardly for me, but like his motivation is just so, and later in the other Fate series he's just so like whatever.
Yeah.
Like whatever. But he's a badass, no doubt
alright.
about it.
All right. Light Yagami from Death Note. I'm gonna put him up in dastardly right now. If you want to maybe say otherwise.
I don't know enough about. I mean, I watched some of Death Note, but I just know he's trying to make a better world. Well, better.
Yeah.
By just murdering criminals.
I mean,
and
he has a
such.
god complex in this, and that I think that's always like characters with god complexes, especially one as in depth as Light's. I think for the most part they're always interesting. If they're done right. So like, Light being this like, I mean, he's just like this character who's like didn't care about anything before. You know what I mean? He didn't care. And as soon as he gets this power, like he's like, I can do something. Like I can make a difference. And it's this like twisted way that he goes about doing it. And what really makes him interesting is like his relationship with Elle, just constantly like that they're back and forth, and him trying to outsmart him and Elle outsmarting Light. Like all that shit is really interesting and cool. It's just like Light could possibly be higher. It's just that like I didn't really care for like the second half of Death Note. I guess it's not even the second half, but like the later parts of Death Note.
People said the ending was terrible.
Like I didn't even finish it. So it's whatever. It is what it is. But for the most part, I do like Light. I like him a lot. So yeah, he goes in dastardly for me. Jeez, we're almost done.
Madara Uchiha.
Madara Uchiha. By the way, if you saw our other Naruto ranking character tier list, we won't talk about like the Naruto villains too much, considering we talked really in depth about them in that. So if you want to hear us talk about them more over there, you can go check out that video.
The only question is how they compare, I suppose.
Yeah, to other villains.
To these villains.
And Madara overall, I think he's dastardly. It just comes down to like him getting yeeted at the end, and the fact that like, while he is this like overwhelming force of like he's this almost this overwhelming force of nature, outside of his relationship with like Obito and the first Hokage, there's not really anything outside of that. Like he doesn't even really connect all that much with like Naruto or Sasuke.
Even though Madara is quite threatening throughout the entire series,
yeah,
he has a presence that some of the other villains don't have. I find I understand him less than I understand Obito. And I think Obito, for what he is more interesting.
Yeah.
Because even though Madara was apparently masterminding everything,
yeah,
I just think everything Obito does and everything he builds up to and the thing he is building towards. So Madara wants the same thing as Obito does, which is the Eye of the Moon, and for similar reasons. But I just find it so much more compelling in Obito's case because I've seen what happened to him as a kid. I know how shitty his childhood was.
Yeah.
How shitty his life was. Like, they show Madara a little bit. He's in constant war. But he doesn't get the development Obito does.
yeah.
And for that reason, I think he's not more than dastardly.
Yeah, and just like
Even
again,
though I like him.
Again, the way they end it, like,
that was possibly the worst way.
You're just like, what
to cap off Madara.
What the fuck? You know what I mean? Like what happened?
Like,
I didn't even think of Kaguya when I was making this list. You know what I mean?
Would you?
Because she's not interesting or effective as a villain at all.
She's even less of a factor. She's just a force of nature.
Like Madara should have been the end game, and I feel like if he had a really satisfying conclusion to his character and like the war overall, he would be a lot higher. He might be in Banff, you know what I mean?
Rest assured, Kaguya would be in trash, though.
Yeah, she would be pathetic. Like, she is just a terrible, terrible character in general. Okay, next we have actually one of my favorite antagonists of all time, Shogo Makishima. Oh my god, this guy, like, before I was like, you know how I was like, oh, maybe, you know, we won't put, you know, Akashi in Banff. Like, this dude belongs in Banff. I know you haven't seen Psycho-Pass, but like everything that this character does, everything that like he represents is so interesting. Like, there's so much you can say about Makishima, and it's a lot. Like, there's a lot to explain because Psycho-Pass is like really in depth. Like it's really deep, and it's not convoluted, but like it's complicated more, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much like about like philosophy and psychology and shit like that. So like they really focus on like the mindsets of like different characters and like their viewpoints towards the world and the society that they've created. Because like in Psycho-Pass, basically, crime is determined by this thing. What is the name of it? I don't remember. But basically, like, it's determined by these machines that they have, called dominators. And the dominators will determine if a person, like, if their psyche has gone too far to like be recovered, and if they've gone too far, then they should be killed immediately, or they should be taken in to a psychiatrist.
So it's like that novel where they can detect crime. What is that called? Minority Report?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, basically like that. Like, they detect crime with this certain system, and it's like based on like the hue, like the color of your psyche. And Makishima as a character, like he's completely not deranged, but like he kills people. He does what he wants. He's like a criminal overlord, but like the system can't detect him, because like his the way his brain works, like it just can't. So like people will point their dominators at him, and it's like, why is like the main character, like one of her best friends, like he literally shoots her in the head, and like the main character is like sitting there with her dominator and is like I can't do anything, like this, it's just not working. So like and like his relationship, Makishima's relationship with the other main character, Kagami, is super fucking cool, because like he killed his former partner, and Kagami's, he basically went not insane, but like he went to the point where like his mind like couldn't be mentally repaired. Like he didn't turn into like a criminal, but basically it made it so like he went to the point where like he was a quote unquote criminal, but like not to the point where like they needed to kill him.
What's his motivation though?
Well, his motivation is to completely dismantle society, because he basically thinks the system is wrong, because it is to some extent. It's imperfect. So his motivation is to completely like crumble society, because like if a guy like him can slip through the cracks, then you know the system can't be perfect, because he's literally killing people. He's like, I can do whatever I want. So his whole goal is like to just dismantle society, and like drag it back to what it was before, basically, or not even drag it back to what it was before, but like just change it, make it better. So like guys like him can't just do whatever he wants, even though he continues to want to do whatever he wants. But like they kill him at the end of the series. So, but yeah, like everything about Psycho Pass, and it's been a couple of years since I've seen the series, but like everything about Psycho Pass is like super interesting. And anybody who hasn't seen, like, I think you would like the show a fucking lot, because it's super awesome. But yeah, dude, Makishima, like, holy shit, like everything he does is awesome. But yeah, that's him. Fuck, he's great. I might be underselling him, because like, again, like I said, it's been a couple of years, but like fuck man, he's great.
I'll defer to you on that. I will check out Psychopaths.
Yeah,
though.
you should, honestly. Like, everybody is like, oh my god, Ava, it's so in-depth and philosophical, like, but nobody talks about Psychopaths, because it's just as good. Meruem, I'm gonna let you take this one, because like, I didn't even, I remember telling you in the other tier list, the top 100 anime, I didn't even get to the Chimera Ant arc, really. Like, I stopped before I even really got into Meruem, so fucking tell me about him.
So Meruem is just, he's the most powerful of the Chimera Ants. He's the king of the Chimera Ants. All 3 of his bodyguards are born to serve him, knowing how strong he is. And he isn't that interesting. I hate to say it.
Oh, really?
So, he's not... I don't know if he's inherently evil. He seems like he finds himself very inherently good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so his relationship with the shogi girl is kind of interesting, because he finds he can't beat her, and he's more interested in that than being king. I think there might be something to be said there. And yet, I just find him, like, what are his motivations? He's kind of an empty shell. He's trying to find, I guess, something that, like a purpose, or he's trying to find something that fulfills him. When he's so strong, he just wipes the floor with everyone.
Yeah.
Even Netero, sort of, he draws him, but...
He dies, right?
Netero dies. Meruem dies of radiation poisoning.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah. And I mean, he's sort of interesting, but at the same time, like, when I think of the other villains on this list, I'm just like, I guess he's threatening, and that the heroes seem to have absolutely no chance against any of the heroes, or any of the villains, the bodyguards. Yeah. But I just don't think that much of him, to be honest. I think he's wicked.
Really?
Or maybe foul. I'm not really sure. Maybe there's more.
I didn't think he was I mean, again, I didn't get that far into his character, but I didn't think he was foul. I'd give him wicked, but like...
It's possible I'm not doing him justice, but yet I just find him not very compelling.
I like how we have literally all the Hunter x Hunter villains in Wicked.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, Hunter x Hunter's strengths... I don't want to say they're not in the villains, because there are some interesting antagonists, but it's more like the journey that's interesting.
I mean, for what I can say for Meruem, I mean, I like the fact that he was like... Because I did get a little bit into, like, his relationship with Shogi Girl. I don't remember what her name is, but, like...
Komugi. I just remembered. Komugi, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's right. But yeah, his relationship with her was cool, kind of, because, like, he was basically like, all humans should die, right? But then, like, he found this one that he couldn't beat in this fucking game, so he was like, oh, I guess they're kind of cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
he kind of changes his
you can beat me at this one thing, and that's all. That's basically what he's interested in, is winning at that one thing. Yeah. But he finds he can't. But like, he doesn't get enough time to shine. Honestly,
like I feel like, because I've watched that fight between him and Netero, but doesn't he like kind of like find respect in Netero? You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess he respects that Netero has the strength to even
challenge him.
And yet at the end, he's kind of dismissive. He's just like, you can't fight me anymore. You have no limbs left. Humanity is nothing. You're its greatest champion, and you're still nothing.
Yeah.
He's arrogant, and that's basically what kills him. Because he just fucking blows him up. He's like, humanity will always... Netero's like, humanity will always find a way. And then he just blows himself up.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can't really say anything about him again, but yeah, I didn't think he was like super interesting or anything like that, but he's fine. Margear, okay, yeah, the guy I put on this list to give me a cool 50. All right, yeah, okay. All right, Oberon, okay, yeah, fairy guy, put him into the memes. Yeah, let's do it. Oh my god, can we just take a couple minutes to fucking shit on this guy? Because, like, everything about Alfheim Online was fucking embarrassing.
I want to marry this 16-year-old
girl
and become rich,
the head of the company dad owns.
And I can't shoot a kid that's hasn't done physical activity in 10.
He like point blank puts a gun at Kirito, and Kirito dodges a bullet. Like, come on, man.
Like
a real IRL bullet.
Also, this guy literally controlled the entire game, and he still lost.
He still lost. Because, like, Kayaba shows up and is like, Kirito, here you go. Here's the access code to everything. And then just fucking wrecks this dude. Like, he, in one of the most uncomfortable scenes in the series, rapes Asuna, or, like, you know, is, like, an attempted rape, is, like, why? Like, every season of SAO has, like, a rape scene. It's like, why? Stop. Please. Please stop.
Does that make him a bad villain, though?
What makes him a bad villain is the fact that he's boring as shit and uninteresting.
Although, I mean, you could argue that his smallness and, like, reality...
Yeah.
And how he portrays himself as, like, this god king in the game, it's kind of like... It's an interesting parallel because he's so weak in reality and, like, pathetic.
Yeah.
That he has to see himself that way in this, like... And even there, he loses.
Yeah.
The ultimate bankruptcy of that character is that he's just weak.
But, like... Okay, like, yeah, he perceives himself as, like, this super god fairy king or whatever, but, like... He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything with that. It's just the way that he touts himself in a secluded part of the game that nobody else can get to. Like, it would be one thing if he was, like, sowing discord throughout the game and being like, I am the fairy god king. I created this game. You know what I mean? But, like, he doesn't. He's just, like, he captures Asuna and then, like, he just fucks off for the rest of the season. Like, he doesn't do anything.
He has very little presence. Almost none until the end. And I think part of that is because he is literally weak as a person. But part of it's just like, he just doesn't, I don't know. So he shows up at the end and he loses.
Yeah, he loses.
And I think it's interesting that he, like that very uncomfortable scene, I kind of find it interesting just in how uncomfortable it is and how much of a... like, complete loser it makes him seem like.
Yeah.
Like, how small this person is. And yet I can't. I don't.
But even
like
then,
him as,
even
I
then,
don't like
that
him
scene
much.
is still supposed to be like touting over Kirito. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be like, I'm better than you. Look at what I'm doing to your girlfriend.
Yeah, but that just makes him seem so
just-
small
yeah.
and self-defeating.
Yeah, but even then, it makes me feel uncomfortable.
I know, but isn't that kind of the point?
I mean,
if a villain makes you feel uncomfortable, it's
but
like
there's a difference. You know what I mean? Like, it seems excessive and unnecessary there.
in terms of the series, yes.
Yeah.
Almost everything in that series is excessive and unnecessary.
But that's my point. It feels like it comes out of nowhere, and it's just like it's doing it for like the shock factor alone of like, oh, we're edgy enough to have an uncomfortable rape scene, and it's like, yeah, but like it doesn't belong here. You know what I mean?
It didn't.
It's out of place.
It lacks a lot of punch because Oberon himself is absent for a lot of it. He really, like he has no. If he had more of a presence as this very creepy figure, I think it would be.
But like that's my point. Like if he was like actually like a villain throughout the game, you know what I mean? But he's not. He's like some bit player that doesn't do anything. Except like, has like the idea that he's like this super god king, but he just doesn't do anything.
Alright, chuck him in the trash.
Fuck this guy. Absolutely fuck this guy. Obito, we don't really need to spend a lot of time on him. I'm willing to put him in Bamf.
I'm willing to put him in
I think he's a Bamf. I think he's a fucking Bamf. But yeah, he's a Bamf. Orochimaru.
I feel like he's dastardly.
I think he's dastardly at best.
I think he's dastardly.
Yeah, I think he's dastardly. Pain.
I would say Pain is insidious.
I would also say Pain is insidious.
As a character, he might be my favorite villain in Naruto, but as a villain, I'd say he's insidious. Only because his motivations to me are less coherent than Obito's.
Also how the arc itself ends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the ending does a lot.
The conclusion to his arc is like, why? Pain, why did you... Alright. You know what I mean?
But yeah. So that's, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he's fine. Not fine. He's great. It's just like...
He's a monstrous presence. He has, like, when he killed Jiraiya, that was, like, a defining moment of the series where it was just like, he killed Jiraiya, this master.
You know what's really funny? I was on Twitter today, and there was, like, Crunchyroll was trying to sell, like, this figure of, like, all the Pains literally killing Jiraiya. And it's like, what? Why did somebody make this? It's literally Jiraiya with, like, a bunch of stakes in his back, and all the Pains are, like, over top of him. And he's burning into the frog's back, burning the thing into the frog's back. And you're like, what? Why did... That's depressing. I don't want a figure of that. Actually, I might, because it looks super dope as fuck. Yeah.
I also think I would like some figures of the Pains.
Yeah, they're cool.
Also, Pain's ability is super cool.
Yeah, the Renegon's dope as shit. Anyway, yeah, if you want to hear us talk about more... I know we just, like, skipped over these guys, but, like, if you want to hear us talk more about them, go watch the Naruto ranking tier list. We talk about them really in depth there, especially like Pain and Obito. We talk about them super in depth.
Yeah, there's too much to say to squeeze into this.
Video. King
Piccolo.
He's fine. I think he's wicked.
I think he's wicked.
For like like probably the biggest antagonist in the original Dragon Ball.
Unless you count Piccolo. Well, Piccolo Jr. is the reincarnation.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're the same guy.
Yeah, they're basically the same.
Yeah. So, like, I'm willing to, like, just give it to this.
Very generic motivation.
Yeah,
I mean, he is threatening.
Wanting to rule the world, but, like, as a challenge for Goku, you know what I mean? A substantial challenge, bigger than anything he's fought before.
Literally, one of his spawn... bodies Krillin. Which is, I mean,
Tambourine.
In Dragon
Let's
Ball,
go.
that was huge because Krillin was, I mean, he wasn't a pushover. He was reasonably strong. And
Yeah.
Tambourine, this servant of like the old king, the weaker old king,
Yeah.
destroyed
Like
Krillin.
slaps him.
I did, yeah. It was ridiculous,
Yeah.
but
He's
yeah.
good.
Solid.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. I also want to make the distinction that like Wicked, the category of Wicked is just like, it's either just like there's not a lot there or like there's not a lot to say.
These characters generally have
but they're generally like
either weaker or less clear motivations, I think, or they didn't have a lot of time to shine.
yeah, but
certain cases.
overall they're still like kind of terrifying. You know what I mean?
Cool or terrifying or just
Yeah.
they played their role adequately. I would say.
They played their role adequately.
We might want to revise Dastardly and maybe bump some people down or up depending on.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I feel like Dastardly's getting a little inflated.
Well, Dastardly's getting a little inflated, but we also just haven't, like, we're not done yet, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we are not done yet. This is true.
So I expect probably, like, a couple of these guys to go maybe down or up. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. Schneisel from Code Geass.
Prince Schneisel. So, he comes after... He's a second season villain, and he comes after his father is basically the main opponent to Lelouch, along with the Black Knights who turn on him. And his whole thing is, we'll launch the Damocles, which is like this orbital... It orbits the Earth and it launches nuclear weapons, essentially.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're going to keep the peace with this permanently. If anyone defies us, we just destroy them.
Yeah.
And I mean... I'm not really sure. It's kind of like Nagato's plan, honestly, but less coherent even. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Schneissel's endgame was, because like what if you run out of these things? Is it self-sufficient? Because like you can't bring it down out of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So like, was he planning on ruling the world? I have no idea.
Probably.
Lelouch's take on Schneisel is that he's basically better than Lelouch in every way, except that he lacks the will to win. He doesn't really strike me that way. If he lacks the will to
like
win,
a super genius? Isn't he like outsmarted Lelouch on several occasions?
he's essentially Lelouch's equal, or perhaps slightly like smarter than him.
Yeah.
Lelouch wins basically by taking a very extreme risk. So I think his point is that Schneisel, he only plays when he knows he can win. When he thinks he holds all the cards.
Yeah.
He only wants to play games where he's... Well, okay. Already said that. What destroys him is that Lelouch develops a countermeasure to the Flea and manages to stop it and get through the Damocles' shield. Once that happens, Schneisel basically gives up. He realizes that Lelouch has basically turned the tables.
Yeah.
And he essentially gives up. And this is Lelouch's criticism of him, is basically, you should never give up. No matter how fucking terrible your situation is. Because, I mean, Lelouch has been in some pretty fucking abominably bad situations.
Yeah, like, just him growing up alone is just like, wow, you lived. Like, considering he had people trying to kill him.
Him coming back in R2 was ridiculous. He had an entire team of Britannians monitoring him at all times. He turned them all against the Emperor and fucking made them into his bitches, basically. It was ridiculous. That's as low as you can... That's pretty much as bad as you can get.
Yeah.
But, Schneisel's deal is that so it's like a past, present, and future deal. I find him less compelling than Charles, though. I think he's probably wicked.
Okay.
He doesn't get a lot of time, and I don't think, like, he doesn't make too much sense. Like, he's okay.
Yeah, even though I watched Code Geass, I literally forgot he was a character, so,
Can't be that thrilling.
Can't be that thrilling,
For a series
although
I
it's
consider
been,
so
again,
good,
I haven't watched Code Geass in a very long time, so.
Charles is really the main... Well, Charles, Suzaku, and Lelouch are the main three.
Yeah.
Schneisel's kind of like... Okay.
Yeah. Although Suzaku isn't really like an antagonist. I mean, he is, but
yeah.
like
That's what makes Code
Yeah.
Geass so interesting.
Yeah.
But
because I like Suzaku a lot. He's played by Yuri Lowenthal in the dub. I like him. Sensui from Yu Yu Hakusho.
is that the muscly guy?
No, that's Tagoro. Tagoro's right here. We'll talk about Tagoro in a bit. Sensui gets a lot of shit because people think that the Chapter Black arc of Yu Yu Hakusho is like bad, but like it's really not. It's just, I mean, honestly, it might be my favorite arc. And Sensui's a really complex character. So basically, do you know the general conceit of Yu Yu Hakusho? Like, Yusuke Urameshi is like the spirit detective.
Yeah, he's a spirit detective, and he goes around, I guess, rounding up evil spirits or something.
Yeah, he basically he beats up demons who are causing trouble in the living world. So Sensui was the former spirit detective before Yusuke, and basically, what Sensui's whole thing was that, like, demons are evil, they need to be killed, blah blah blah, this and that. He was very like very like by the books, by the code, like this is how things should be done. He was basically a prodigy, but then he ran into a situation where, like, he found a bunch of like rich fat cat humans, like, literally torturing demons for fun, and he saw like the worst possible side of humanity. Excuse me. He saw the worst possible side of humanity and determined that, like, humanity is terrible and that they're just as fucked as demons are. So basically, but like weaker than demons, you know what I mean? So, like, basically he wants to fuse the demon world and the human world, and combine the two to, like, and just, like, let everything, like, let just everything loose, like, let all the demons loose and let them kill all the humans and shit like that, and, like, only, like, the strong will survive.
Oh, so he's like Tsukasa from Dr. Stone.
Kind of like Tsukasa.
Okay, not exactly, but
Not
ruled
exactly
by
like
the strong.
Tsukasa. Yeah, ruled by the strong. Although Tsukasa has a little more going for him, which we'll get to in a bit.
Yeah, he's a little more than that,
but like, even still, like, Sensui also has, like, I forget how many it is. I think it's 7 different personalities. And each one of them are super, like, one of them, like, all of his powers change based off of it. One of them is like Sensui, the normal guy that you see. One of them is like, one of them is like super crazy and deranged. It, like, literally turns his arm into a gun. It's cool as shit. One of them is a woman. One of them, and then there's, like, I forget what the prime, like, the best personality's name is, but, like, he's like the overlord of all of them. Like, everybody else is scared of that one. So yeah, he's super cool and interesting. And his relationship with Yusuke is cool. I don't think it's as interesting as, like, Tagoro's relationship with Yusuke, but even still, it's really good. I'm gonna put him up in Insidious. He's
Wow.
he's honestly, like, I don't know why people don't like Chapter Black, because, like, the Chapter Black arc is, like, really, really fucking solid. Like, Yu Yu Hakusho is one of my favorite shows of all time, possibly my favorite. And, like, I could never ever wrap my head around the fact that, like, people didn't like Chapter Black. But yeah, Sensui's, like, really good. Yeah, that's all I have to say about him, really. Shigaraki from My Hero Academia. I like how I possibly chose the worst picture of him because it's just a fucking hand over his face.
I don't like Shigaraki as a villain. I'll be
I
honest with you.
I've heard the argument of like, oh, he's supposed to start out as like a bad villain at first, and then like he grows along with Midoriya because like he as Deku progresses as a hero, Shigaraki also progresses as a villain, and it's like I'm just not into it.
Does he progress though? I don't think he's progressed significantly since his strategy went from send one Nomu at him to send a bunch of
Nomu at him.
Has he changed? He's still the same mentally unstable weirdo that he was to begin with.
I don't think he has like a really solid philosophy besides trying to like destroy everything. I've heard he gets better, I think, in the manga. But like I don't read the fucking manga. I've only seen so much of the anime, and what I've seen really wasn't impressing. So like I mean I don't even think foul. Like I think he might be pathetic.
I think he's pathetic.
Honestly. I really don't like him.
He's nothing.
Like he's more annoying than anything. Like I don't even think he's threatening at all. Because he whines and complains and moans to All For One constantly. He's like, I wanted to do my blah blah blah. Things need to go my way.
And All For One inexplicably tolerates his bullshit.
Yeah, and it's like, why? He's like a whiny child. Like I don't know. The best thing that ever happens with Shigaraki is when he confronts Deku after the Stain arc. Remember that? Where he literally like it's like they're in public, like they're in broad daylight, and Shigaraki has like a hood on.
In the mall. I do remember that. Yeah.
And he literally has like his hand around like Deku's neck, and Ochako is like, what's happening? And he's like, it's whatever, it's fine, go on without me. Because he's like literally about to kill him. I guess like that's the point where you could argue like, oh, that's where like he finds resolve in doing evil things, I guess.
But like what was even the point of that?
I don't know. Maybe we're selling him short. I don't know. Maybe he gets
he does more stuff later, but
like exponentially better.
Whatever.
But like what I saw wasn't impressive. I'm sorry. Makoto Shishio from Rurouni Kenshin. He is the primary antagonist of not the series, but like of the biggest arc in the series. Do you know anything about Rurouni Kenshin?
Not particularly.
Okay, well, let me give you the rundown. Himura Kenshin, who is the main character, when he fought in the war, he was known as Batosai the Manslayer, because he literally just killed a bunch of people. Like
fair.
Yeah, the side that he fought for, he was literally just like, they were like, go kill these people, and then he did it. So he kind of became famous as like the manslayer of the war. Shishio was another manslayer of the war, but like he was like hidden in the shadows primarily. Like nobody I don't even think it was like nobody trusted him, or I can't remember if it was like nobody trusted him or if it was like he was just like a more shadowy figure. Like Kenshin was almost like a figurehead of like all the people who, like all the manslayers, all the assassins that went out and killed people, and he was like the underground assassin that killed people. But like basically the side he fought for, because him and Kenshin both fought on the same side, I think. I'm pretty sure. But like at the end of the war, they basically like they were trying to kill him, so they burned him alive, and it didn't work.
Jesus.
He's literally just that much of a badass. He powers through it, and that's why he wears all these bandages all over his body, because literally his body is scarred. So his whole deal is that he wants to come back from the shadows, like out of the shadows, and like take over the country again because he doesn't like the way that, like, even though he fought for the side that won, he doesn't like the way that, like, history is progressing.
Who burned him then?
The people that won. Like, they were like,
But he fought for them.
Yeah, they were like, we can't have him around anymore. And then they literally, like, they just tried to kill him. Yeah.
God damn.
Like, they were like, he's too dangerous, basically, so we're gonna kill him. And he's like, fuck that, fuck those guys, I'm gonna come back, I'm going to take over, I'm gonna be the strongest and the best and the coolest. And for all accounts and purposes, he is stronger than Kenshin. Like, he's better. Like, Kenshin is known as, like, the manslayer that basically won the war. But Shishio is also, like, he's just better than him, almost. Because also, like, the way that they explain it is that he also has the ability to control fire because his skin, like, secretes oil from being burned alive or something like that.
Kids,
it's not. Yeah.
don't light yourself on fire thinking that you will start secreting oil.
Yeah.
I promise you that is not what will happen.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So basically, he ignites fire, like, on his sword off of his body. But, like, he also has to, like, be cooled down every so often. Like, I'm pretty sure it's, like, every 15 minutes he has to be cooled down and replace his bandages or some shit like that. Or maybe not replace his bandages, but, like, or maybe it's a longer time limit than that. Basically, when he fights Kenshin, they're like, you have 15 minutes to, like, fight him. And if you don't kill him in 15 minutes, you will literally die. Which he knows that. But when he fights Kenshin, it basically comes to stalemate. And Kenshin's, like, kicking his ass a little bit, but then he just catches on fire. Like, he just catches on fire. But yeah, he's, like, super cool. He's super awesome. The best villain in Rurouni Kenshin. I think he's Insidious. He's intimidating as fuck. And, like, it's Kenshin's friend Sanosuke, who's no pushover, and then Kenshin's rival, I forget his name. But all of them are, like, up to this point, are, like, super badasses, and Shishio decimates them all. Like, he absolutely demolishes them. Like, one of, like, he literally blows up Kenshin. He puts a hole in Sanosuke's chest. And then the other guy, Kenshin's rival, is literally, like, he has the chance to kill him and, like, aims for his head and, like, stabs his forehead. But Shishio, like, wears this metal helmet because he's like, yeah, people have tried this shit before, so I've learned, because he's literally, like, I think it's like he's gotten, like, sliced in the head before, so he's like, I learned from that, and I wear this metal thing around my head to fucking protect people trying to literally stab me in the brain, like, stab me through the forehead. So yeah, he's cool as fuck and he's intimidating. It's just kind of lackluster how he goes out, but, like, his character as a whole totally makes sense. But yeah, he's cool. Stain from My Hero Academia. I'm just gonna put him up in the dastardly.
I actually disagree.
Really?
I think he should be wicked and or foul.
Really? All right.
Maybe I should explain myself.
All right, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll leave him here for now, but, like, go ahead. Because I like Stain.
Why I don't think Stain... To me, okay, Stain... So Stain is... I mean... He has a slight point about heroes and the Hero Society.
Yeah.
There are things that are corrupt about the Hero Society, for sure.
Yeah.
But to have a valid critique, you have to not be worse than what you're critiquing, which Stain undoubtedly is. So, okay, crime goes down in the cities that Stain goes to, but also he just murders heroes whoever he thinks is unworthy.
Yeah, which is basically everyone.
Which is everyone by his standard. So the fact that he killed, like, Ingenium, for instance, who I actually think is one of the more upstanding heroes, more likely. He tried to, though.
I mean, he tried to.
He literally tried to.
He didn't kill him.
Yeah, he didn't kill him. He just paralyzed him forever.
I don't know if he's... Is he paralyzed?
I thought he was.
I thought he just got really fucked up. I could be wrong, but yeah.
And then, obviously, I mean, people start going after him because, like, Stain... If Stain... Like, a better way to do Stain's character, in my opinion, is a hero who eschews all of that fame and sort of operates outside the rules, and yet is still a very good hero and a just person. In a way that Stain is just not. But, like, Stain is just... He's a murderer. He seems insane. And he kind of is insane. Yeah. Even though I think at the core of that is a valid critique of what's happening, it's covered in an actual villain. The acts of an actual evil person.
Well, see, that's why... And, like, I was hesitant to even put him on this list. Because, I mean, he's more of an anti-hero, which, like... If you remember, like, that's what my first video was about anti-heroes in My Hero Academia. And he is an anti-hero. Like, he's an antagonist, but he's not a villain.
Isn't he, though? Why is he not a villain?
Because, I mean, again, because he has this point about society, and, like, yeah, you have you have a point where it's like, yeah, if you're critiquing society, like, you shouldn't be worse than the thing you're critiquing. But, like, that was the whole point. Was that he was like, I'm going to kill these people, these heroes that aren't, like, true heroes, to prove a point. Because here are all the heroes that are being like, going out of their way to fucking, for fame and money and fortune and shit like that, all these superficial reasons, and I'm going to kill these people to show like society that this is serious. Like, this is the point he was trying to make, and, like, acknowledging that, like, the only people who are the only person who could kill him was All Might. He was like, he's the only person I'm gonna let kill me. All of you other fucks, you don't matter because you're not true heroes. So he was basically trying to promote All Might even further than he already was by becoming a villain.
But even that doesn't really make sense to me, because even though I understand, knowing All Might's character, I can see that he's a good person and he does not do it for, like, the fame or the accolades. He does it because he is a hero.
He wants to. Yeah.
But let's say I was looking at All Might and I saw, like, All Might figurines and how he was all over the media as the symbol of peace.
Yeah.
If I wasn't the audience and didn't know that, wouldn't I think he wasn't the ultimate hero?
Well, that's where you have to come in. Well, like, that's where you have to come into question, because, like, All Might says, like he publicizes himself as, like, yes, I just do this because it's the right thing to do. Like, that's his philosophy. He's, like, that's what he tells everybody.
But that's what every hero, even, like, the attention-seeking heroes, would say.
I mean, yeah, but, like, I guess it's from his acts overall, because it's like, he's proven it time and time and time again that he will put himself on the line, like, against All for One.
Well, yeah, that's true as well.
You know what I mean? He puts himself on the... He gets incredibly injured, which, like, not a lot of people know about, but, like...
Well, exactly. See, as the audience...
Even fighting All for One
as the audience,
nobody else
fighting All for One, you could say, nobody who just wanted... Because there's a good chance you die.
Yeah. Better
than good chance you die.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's solid evidence for him just being out of the goodness of his heart. And yet I just think Stain... His point just... Because a villain can make valid points and still be a villain.
I mean...
I think Stain is still a villain at the end. I don't consider him an anti-hero, because I don't consider what he's doing in any way heroic. To be honest.
Well, it's more of like having a point, you know what I mean? Having a point, like an overall good point. Like society needs to change for the better. And doing things like that's what anti-heroes do. They do things that the heroes normally wouldn't do to change society or change the situation as a whole that might be considered or that generally are considered like evil things to do. So like murdering people or injuring people in general, you know what I mean?
Would you consider Charles v. Britannia an anti-hero then? Because I think, even though I think Charles makes a valid point,
I would need to rewatch Code
he's
Geass.
definitely a villain.
I would need to rewatch Code Geass to like actually form an opinion on that because like from what I remember, he just kills like he kills droves and droves of people just because mostly, you know what I mean?
Well, it's all in service of that greater point. His whole thing is to create a world where people can be themselves, nobody has to die, and nobody has to lie or deceive others. Go up a little bit, because I feel like there are villains, definitely villains,
like
who still make a valid point about the world.
I feel like that's unrealistic.
It's not, though. He's literally capable of doing it.
I mean, like... Yeah, but, like, see, that's the same thing. Like, I would consider, like, characters like Makishima, like, he's an anti-hero, because he makes a completely irrational point about society. A character like Sensui makes completely rational points about society. Even like Madara to a certain extent, you know, makes completely rational points about society, but like...
But I'd consider Madara definitely a villain.
Yeah, I would consider Madara a villain because, like, he makes... But, like, because, like, his end goal isn't good for the world.
But that's subjective. Stain's end goal arguably isn't really good either.
Well, it's just making heroes better.
Yeah, by killing the ones... He
wants the ones that aren't good. He wants to
purge the ones that he thinks aren't good.
Yeah.
Which is debatable.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually arguably a bad goal. Like, in the end, I think it's similar.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. But you know what? Like, like he's down here in Wicked, but like just the fact that we're having this long of a conversation about him, don't you think that?
No, I actually don't. I just think there's not really a way to look at him that portrays him like maybe as a character he deserves more points, but as a villain, he doesn't. Well, he just doesn't
all
really.
All of these are characters at the end of the day. Like, you know what I mean? This is a villain character tier list.
Right, but I mean, I'm really thinking more about how they function as a villain than because if it was sheer character, I would put like someone like Pain above Obito. But for the purposes of this, I think, for their role in the story, also Stain doesn't show up for that long. That's another thing about it.
That's true, but even then, like, everything that Stain did impacts later, things later in the...
I also think that's horseshit, because Stain's point is not to be charismatic. He doesn't want followers, but people are like, Stain's ideology. Like, shut the fuck up. That's not Stain's ideology. That's just, hey, these heroes who are obviously greedy and seeking attention... Maybe that's not ideal.
Yeah.
That's not a fucking ideal. Like, Stain is overrated to me.
Okay.
I just think he belongs in Wicked.
I mean, I don't care that much because, like, it's, like, whatever to me. But, yeah. Yeah, fine. Sure. Fuck it. I don't care. I didn't know you felt that seriously about Stain.
I
just... this guy, Suzuki from Mob Psycho 100. He is the second antagonist of the series, technically, I guess. He's the leader of Claw, or Scar, or whatever the fuck their name is. He's, as much as I love Mob Psycho Season 2, he is actually, like, one of the most disappointing parts about that season. Because, like, besides him being, like, kind of manipulative... he's really just like another one of those guys who's just like, I am the best. I will prove that I'm the best by taking over Japan, and like that's it. That's really all he's about. He, I mean, the only other thing that you could like make a case for is like him being closed off from his emotions, like Mob, comparatively to Mob, who gets his power from his emotions. Like that's it. But even then, I didn't like him all that much. I didn't find him that interesting. He was fine. It's like whatever. He's completely whatever. So yeah, he's. Then we have Suzaku from Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm gonna put Suzaku up in Wicked. Suzaku is the leader of Maze Castle, and he's a guy that's just like, demons are the coolest, and we're gonna fuck up humans. But it's really like his fight, and he's not in the series all that much. He's only like, the Maze Castle arc only lasts for like maybe like 10 episodes or something like that, like 10 to 15. So he's like not really that important, and he doesn't show up at any, he's not even mentioned later on. But like his fight with Yusuke is like so important to Yusuke as a character. Like just forcing him into like giving a shit, which is like Yusuke's whole arc, is learning to care about the things close to him, and like put himself entirely into caring about something like the things close to him. So his fight facilitates that arc, and I give him points for that, because that's cool, and he has some cool powers, and his design is cool, so there you go. Not really much to say outside of that. Not really entirely memorable, but he's fine.
Before we go on, I find it disconcerting how much Zeref looks like Kirito. It's just kind of disturbing to me. And gross.
Well, Zeref has that little tuft of hair that you can't really see on top of his head. That's what's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. What's supposed to separate him from, I don't know, more generic designs, I guess. But, yeah, fuck it. Whatever, right?
Also, I haven't watched Yu Yu Hakusho, so I can't really comment.
Yeah, you should.
I'll just defer.
You should. Yu Yu Hakusho is amazing.
I should watch many
things. Yeah, probably. Yu Yu Hakusho is a classic. A lot of people forget about the Maze Castle arc, but like it's decent. It's all right. All right, Toguro. Toguro. I wanna, because he is without a doubt the best part of the Dark Tournament arc, and his fight with Yusuke, like just like the build up, the absolute like just him just being like this absolute, because they fought him the arc before, and they like really couldn't do anything to him, like they couldn't put a dent in him, and then like they quote unquote like defeat him, but they don't really. He was just faking it for like a like ulterior motives basically, and then he shows up and forces Yusuke and his friends to fight in the Dark Tournament, because he sees a lot of potential in Yusuke, and basically his whole goal is for him to like power up Yusuke enough to like give him enough motivation to kill him. Like he wants to die, because he has a lot of regrets in his past, and just like Yusuke's master, like he was friends with Yusuke's actually I'm pretty sure they were lovers. So Yusuke's master, like he quote unquote kills her. He doesn't really, I mean he does, but then she gets brought back.
Why doesn't he just kill himself?
because he's a demon.
Can he not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, also, it's one of those things where it's like he also just wants to, like, prove he's the strongest. Like, he is the strongest, and he's like, no one can challenge me, no one has challenged me.
So does he want to die, or does he want to prove he's the strongest?
I mean, it's kind of both, and that's where, like, the conflict in his character comes from, because, like, he wants to, because he's proving he's the strongest already. But, like, he wants somebody to come along who's even stronger than he is and kill him, basically. Like, and even when, like, he used to be, like, a good guy. He used to fight on the side of, like, humanity. But then when he won the Dark Tournament, he got his wish, because it grants wishes, basically. If you win the Dark Tournament, your wish gets granted. He wished to turn into a demon. So he could be the strongest. But then, like, he just ended up regretting that decision, and now he wants somebody to kill him. And he saw, like, a lot of potential in Yusuke. Like, you could say so much about Toguro. Like, when he's being judged, basically, in the afterlife, like, one of the characters that you meet, Koenma, who's, like, the guy who, like, does the paperwork to pass people on. He's like, you've done enough good deeds that you've been a demon for a while, but, like, you did, like, enough good deeds that you don't have to, like, go to hell, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to go to hell. And he's basically like, no, I'm gonna go to hell for, like, 10,000 years. Like, he decides that. Like, he's like, for atonement, basically, I'm going to hell. And even then, after he's done with those 10,000 years in hell, he, like, dies or something and, like, ceases to exist.
Jesus.
Yeah, so, like, yeah, hardcore. He's not fucking around. And, like, I'm really tempted to put him in Banff because, like, the Dark Tournament overall is, like, it kind of drags on in places, but, like, the climax of Yusuke versus Toguro is, like, so well worth the wait, and, like it blows almost everything out of the series out of the water. Like, Sensui, I think, is super underrated, but, like, Sensui does not compare to Toguro. Like, in fact, yeah, I'm just doing this. Like, he is like, blindsidingly awesome in, like, everything he does.
I'm okay with this because I haven't watched Yu Yu Hakusho, but even I have seen the fight between him.
Yeah.
Like, somebody showed it to me.
Yeah.
Literally, just because of how good it is.
It's fucking awesome. And when he powers up, he turns into, like, this giant, grotesque monster. And it's like, oh my fucking god, it's so cool. Yeah. Yu Yu Hakusho is one of my favorites. I like it a lot. But yeah, now we get to fucking Tsukasa. Mikasa Tsukasa. I'm gonna put him in Dastardly, honestly. And, like, have you read the Dr. Stone manga?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've read up to 80, chapter 70 or 8, I don't know. I've read it pretty far.
Well, I've only watched up to the, like, where they're over in the anime, which is season 1, at the end of season 1. And I fucking love Dr. Stone, so that's why I put him on this list. I think he's just fucking awesome. Like, I think he makes a great point, but, like, you know what I mean?
I
like,
actually think his point's the weakest part of his character.
Really?
Although, I don't think that, because he's young, that doesn't really like, he's naive.
Yeah.
That's part of what's interesting about him.
The naivety of his character.
And yet,
even though he is this, like, hulking mass of strength that
Yeah.
literally punches and kills lions. And, like...
Yeah, his value is that he's ridiculously strong. What he wants is this sort of, like, primordial society before technology. But here's the thing. That's like a self-contradicting wish. Once you establish a society, corruption will seep in.
It's also not, like, it's not even that, because, like, I don't even think he's, like, opposed to science. Like, one of the most interesting things that he says is, like, Senku, me and you could have been friends, like in the old world. We would have been good friends. But like it's just because he wants to establish dominance in the stone world that like puts them at odds with each other because he doesn't want to bring at like Senku's whole goal is like I'm going to bring everyone back no matter what. Like I'm going to bring them back.
I also think Tsukasa, one of those two, Tsukasa.
Yeah,
is that his
Tsukasa.
name? Tsukasa thinks that science leads to society. That science and scientific discoveries eventually lead to the modern world and the corruption that it brings with it.
Yeah.
Which is why he doesn't want, basically, he doesn't want the science village to exist.
I mean, again, yeah, you've seen more of, or you know more about Dr. Stone than I do, but yeah, no, I think that's super interesting too.
And I mean,
also just how fucking charismatic he is. You know what I mean?
He's not though. I don't even think he's charismatic. I just think he's extremely strong.
Every scene that he's in, I mean, again, at least in the anime, like, and even people even like Gen, the mentalist they call him. Like even he's like this guy is incredibly charismatic. Like also people are scared of him, but like he rules out of fear. But like he's like soft spoken and clear cut, and he just he holds himself in like has this like aura around him.
But exactly, he has to rule by fear. You can say someone is charismatic, but that doesn't make it so for the audience, and it definitely doesn't make it so for me. I think he rules through fear.
I mean, he does. I'm not denying that.
And in that way, it kind of undermines everything he's saying. Because part of the corruption of society is that it inspires fear. And that society is based on fear to a large extent. Fear of consequences. And he undermines himself part of that makes him interesting because he so visibly undermines himself in everything he does. And yet, part of me is like, but isn't that so interesting that he's a villain who's that naive?
Yeah.
And how he holds these ideas in his head while contradicting them.
I've always he is like, to me, like he is a little bit of like a Byakuran to me, where like just the way he talks to the other characters and interacts with them, he seems like a nice guy, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he is this just terrifying presence.
And he is threatening. For what it's worth, he's extremely threatening because he's building an army basically to wipe out the village of science.
And like he didn't like when Senku goes off to make like weapons to fight him, basically like guns and gunpowder and shit. He was like, I don't want to kill you, but like if you're gonna if you're gonna stand against me, like I'm going to. Like that's it's unavoidable. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that part of his character is super interesting. Like just like the fact that maybe he doesn't want to do what he's doing, but like just to get everything that he wants. He'll even kill people who are considered like he considers like his friends almost.
I'm interested to see what they do with this character. I think depending on how he ends up, he could end up in like Wicked. But if they did him right, if he started reflecting on like what society was and how he wasn't like how naive his goal was, I think he could be a great villain.
Yeah.
But I don't know enough. Like they haven't shown him enough for me to.
Yeah. And like in season 1, again, you read the manga, but like in season 1, in season 1, it's really, I don't know, like even when Senku goes off to establish the kingdom of science, like he's always in the back of your mind that like, oh, when he figures out like Senku is alive, like what's gonna happen, you know, like and then season 2 is coming, so oh man, dude, I'm so fucking excited for season 2. I love Dr. Stone, dude. So yeah, he's great. I like him a lot.
I suspect, and I know this is a little cynical, but that they won't actually do anything that interesting with him.
Yeah.
That's why for me he's in Wicked, but I'm willing to accept Dastardly because giving him the benefit of the doubt is fine.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Stone is good, so
Doctor Strange is really good.
give him the benefit of the doubt.
I like it.
Why not?
Yeah. Whew. Vegeta. It's tough for me to put Vegeta like I can't put him in like Wicked or below.
I want to put him in Dastardly and then move Cell and Boo down, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because on reflection, I'm like, he doesn't really rise to Frieza's level.
Yeah.
And yet I wouldn't put him on the level of Cell and Boo. So maybe move those dudes down.
I might put him on the level of Cell, but I wholeheartedly agree. Move Boo down. I
think Vegeta.
I think Vegeta is I think Vegeta like as like from like the Saiyan arc to the Frieza arc, like in between those two arcs, like where he's like primarily like an antagonist. You know what I mean? I don't think he exudes as much like just this like overwhelming presence as Cell does. Like that's one of the things that I like about Cell a lot is that like first form especially and perfect form like you can just feel like the fear, like the tension that Cell brings when you see him. Like I never really get that impression from Vegeta. Vegeta might be an overall like more interesting character than Cell is, but like as far as like threat goes, Cell is like still trumps him in my opinion.
I think Vegeta's definitely got the better character, but Cell is probably more threatening. In part because Goku from the get-go has tools to fight Vegeta until he goes grade 8, but like he manages to scrape by, and so they have not an even fight, but one that Vegeta ultimately is forced to retreat from. He does lose. I mean, it's with all the Z Fighters' help, but like
whereas with Gohan
Cell,
and Krillin's.
With Cell, it was just like...
I guess also Yajirobe's, but fuck him.
Nobody can fight Cell.
Yeah.
And he just sort of destroys them.
Yeah. Like, everybody shows up to the Cell games out of more, like, moral obligation to just be there for Goku, because they
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But I just think Vegeta's overall... Well, his character is better, but, like... What about when he's Majin Vegeta? Does that matter?
I mean, still, yeah. Even though, like, I think
I think that's a super interesting episode.
I think Majin Vegeta still counts towards Vegeta, as his character as a whole. But like,
that makes me want to put him above Cell because it's like this interesting crisis he has where he's like, "Why am I falling behind?" And then he says, it's because I'm not evil. And he goes back to that and then realizes how wrong he was.
Well, that doesn't make me want to bump
which
down
is super
Cell.
Interesting.
That makes me want to bump up Vegeta.
And yet I don't,
But I don't think, like, I also don't think Vegeta belongs with any of these characters up here. Because, like, while he has, like, really cool character motivations, just, like, but at the end of the day, it's not, like... It's not really like a complex... He's not like a super complex character. Like, he's pretty straightforward.
Alright, leave him in Dastardly.
Yeah, I mean...
Even though he kind of... yeah. Well,
I like Vegeta a lot.
Yeah, man, I'm like with Vegeta. But yeah, he's not quite...
Yeah, he doesn't quite reach, like...
Frieza.
Yeah, Frieza or, like, any of these other characters. And, like, he's below Cell, like, here, but, like, they're still in the same rank, you know what I mean? I think they're the same rank. Vicious from Cowboy Bebop. Now, Vicious is a really weird character because, like, he's not really in the series. But he's, like, super iconic to the series. I'm gonna leave him in Dastardly for now.
But why is he in Dastardly if he barely shows up?
Because, like, even though he barely shows up, like, the 2 fights he has with Spike are iconic. Especially, like, his fight in the cathedral. Which anybody who's seen Cowboy Bebop instantly knows what I'm talking about.
I mean, I watched that fight, but I just don't think it's that. Even though he has his presence, it's
like have you finished Cowboy Bebop? Have you seen the entire series? Well, like, Vicious shows up, like, I think 4 times throughout the series as a whole. 3 or 4 times. But, like, his main motivation is, like, to take over, like, the quote unquote, like, mafia that he works for. Which once he's the leader of that, like, he'll just be in charge. But, like, what's really interesting is, like, his relationship with Spike and their past, where, like, they used to be comrades, they used to fight alongside of each other, and then, like, because of certain circumstances, like, Vicious goes after Spike, and Spike has to, like, basically run away and just be in hiding for, like, the longest time. And it's, like, again, like, yeah, he's barely in the series, overall, but, like, you can definitely tell he has a presence in Spike's character. And the way that Spike goes about things, and, like, the way that he, like, shuns his past, for the most part through the series, is because of Vicious. So, like, I mean, I have to give him props for that. Also, like, he is one of those characters where, like, you never really know what he's thinking until, like, the thing he does happens, and when he does it, it's, like, super badass and awesome. So, like, yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. And, like, the iconography, like, if it was just based off of, like, iconography alone, like, I'd put him up in, like, Banff. But, like, the character itself and just the way he's portrayed throughout the series, because he's barely there, I can't put him, like, super high. But yeah, he's fine. He's good. He's still good. He's still awesome. But, like, he's just he's not there enough. Zanzis is another antagonist from Katekyo Hitman Reborn. Yeah, I can't put him in Insidious. The best thing about Zanzis is just, like, he's just an asshole. Like, he's just an asshole, and he's constantly angry all the time. Even to, like, his comrades, like, the people he works with. His goal is to, like, become the head of the Vongola family, which, like, the main character is supposed to become the head. It's mafia. They're mafia. It's a mafia,
right?
Group. So he's trying to become the head of the Vongola family, and he just thinks that the main character is too weak to do it, because he doesn't show, like, enough anger and hate and rage, which is literally all Zanzis is. And even, like, his comrades and his friends, he could not give less of a fuck about them. Like, he's just, like, the things that I'm doing for myself. Like, this is all for me to become the head of the Vongola family. This is all for me to become the leader. Which he's already the leader of his own group, so, like, whatever, right? But at the same time, he just wants more. He wants more strength. He wants more power. And this is the best way to do it. And, like, basically he was, like, an orphan, who was taken in, and they, like, he was taken in by the leader of the Vongla family, so technically he is the heir, quote unquote. But he's not blood, so he can't be the leader.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he's super cool. He has cool powers. His role later in the story, because like he's the villain of like the second arc, or I guess the third arc technically. But the way he's utilized later on in the series is like he's kind of like a bit character, but even still, like the way he's used is like super badass. Like everything he does is like fucking awesome and cool. Also, his design is dope as shit, so I give him fucking props for that. But yeah, he's cool. Alright. It's a fucking Zamasu. We've been going for like almost like over 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours, I think.
Trash.
Yeah, he's fucking like. If you want to talk about like what some of the worst entries to the franchise ever, Zamasu, dude, what the fuck were they thinking?
God. I'm a god, so I'm gonna do the universe destruction plan and steal Goku's body because he's so strong. And then something.
I don't know.
Something. He's not threatening. Vegito literally makes him look like a bitch, and then they did a bunch of bullshit where Vegito couldn't just kill him.
He
but
fucking
like,
toys with. I don't understand why Vegito just didn't kill him. I guess because he was toying with him too long or some shit like that.
even though they invented some arbitrary bullshit about
Yeah.
the Potara earrings, but whatever.
Yeah. And then they separated now, even though the Potara earrings were supposed to be permanent fusion, but because of like God energy, they don't need to do it.
Okay, I don't want to talk about Zamasu. I really.
But then he dies by Spirit Sword Trunks. Normal Super Saiyan Spirit Sword Trunks or whatever. Fuck that shit.
The guy who was struggling to defeat Perfect Cell.
Oh my god.
Ah!
Oh my god.
Oh, we got Super Saiyan 2. Like, shut up and never talk to. Look. Alright, can we move on? I never thought I would say this, but can we move on to Zeref? Fuck.
Alright, Zeref, you're closing out our fucking list, you stupid sack of shit. Although I'd put him in Wicked, honestly. Like, he's better than Acnologia.
Is he, though? Is he?
Yeah, honestly, dude, because I know you haven't finished the series, but, like, the way that dude, Acnologia is just fucking disappointing. Zeref at least has some stuff going on where he's, like, where he just wants to die, basically.
Why doesn't he just kill himself, then?
Well, the thing is, one, he literally can't. And two, because, like, he didn't make himself immortal. He was cursed with immortality. Yeah, that's what you find out. He's cursed with immortality, and he wants to die, but he literally can't. And they did, like, his whole thing after a while is like, you know what? I'm just fed up with being, like, a sad sack all the time. So now I'm just gonna take over the world, basically.
That's an incoherent motivation, though.
Well, no, he was just because, like,
he was tired of being a sad sack and wanting to die.
I mean, he decided to take over the world. It's a little more than that, because he's like, he created all these demons to, like, basically try and kill him, and none of them ever fulfill their purpose. And so he's basically like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna take over everything. Which he almost does. He starts an empire, which I don't know if the Alpharez Empire.
I don't know.
He started that empire like thousands and thousands of years ago, and then just fucked off because he didn't want to rule it anymore. But then he came back and was like, hey, I'm doing this shit again.
But like, what's the point? Why is his motivation so incoherent? What's his motivation? Why should I care? Why do I care about him?
I mean, you shouldn't. He's not fucking super awesome like any of these other guys.
Chuck him and foul then. That's an incoherent motivation. He fucked up for thousands of years because he got
thousands, but
bored?
like it was
What?
like a few decades. Like it wasn't like a super long. So it was like 100 years or some shit like that. I don't remember.
That's retarded.
But yeah, whatever. I don't know. He's fine. I like him kinda. He wasn't terrible for most of the series. It's just kind of at the end where he sucks. Like Agnologia, except worse. Like Agnologia is worse.
Alright, is there anyone we can... Okay, can you move Kirei up? I feel uncomfortable about putting him there when we put Gilgamesh up. Yeah. But I do feel like I want to try and... Oh, can you move Boros down to foul? Because the more I look at Boros, the more I'm like...
I don't give a shit. Yeah, like I said, he shows up, he eats a couple guys,
cool, but
and then he fucks off. He dies. Yeah. Like that's it.
Is there anyone we think doesn't compare well with
their tier? I'm not gonna lie. I kind of still want Akashi and Bamf just because he's my guy. So you know what? Fuck it. I don't care.
I don't know if Akashi should be in BAM.
You know, you probably wouldn't think he would be, but like I do, so... And you've never seen the show, so fuck you.
Yeah, but why would I ever see it? Because
I don't give a shit what you say.
It's a sports anime and nobody cares about sports
anime. He's the coolest fucking guy in the goddamn city. He fucking trips people for a living. That's what he does.
With Obito? Are you fucking serious?
I mean... It's a sports anime, so, like, it's not like...
No. They don't get a pass because it's a sports anime.
No. Hear me out. It's not, like, this, like, philosophical, like, world-changing thing, but, like, yeah, he's a really super interesting character. You know what I mean?
Is he, though? His whole point is that he just always wins, and that's his motivation.
Well, no, it was based... So, like, he grew up, like, a really, like... How do I explain this? Like... like he had a really like suppressed childhood, so like he grew up in like a normal Japanese kid. He was like rich, and basically all his dad made him do was study and be like a fucking normal except like to the max. And so like his mom was like, you know what? You're a kid. You should have fun. And so she introduced him to basketball. But then his mom dies when he's a kid. And his dad was like, you know, as long as you are the absolute very best at basketball, you can play basketball. I'll still let you play basketball as long as you're the very fucking best. So it's kind of like this overwhelming pressure that he has on his shoulders of like his family name, because he is like this really rich, famous, not famous technically, but like he's really this really rich kid. That his dad has like a lot riding on his shoulders as like the heir to his company basically. And he's just the best. He needs to be the best, and like when he's not, he literally goes crazy. As soon as the other members of the Generation of Miracles exhibit any signs of like maybe being better than he is, or even like challenging him, he's like his mind just breaks.
But even though I agree with you, I think you can be in it. You don't have to have a world-changing philosophy to be a compelling character. I just think, like, is that, like, when it comes down to it, is that a character I would mark out as especially interesting or compelling? Not particularly.
Actually, yeah. I'm not joking. Like, dude, besides, like, the rule of cool, like, besides, like, the fact that he's just, like, a super badass.
What makes him a better villain than the people who are insidious?
The thing that, in the context of his story...
But I don't want to take him in the context of his story.
But that's what
I want to take him in the context of... all of these villains in the context of their stories and compare like their villain like
I mean, yeah, but like that's my point. Like that's in the context of his story compared to all these other villains, like his story, like his arc makes the most, like
he plays the same role as someone like Pain, someone like the Emperor.
No, the only reason Pain really isn't in. Okay, again, like you could have put him in Banff, and I would have bat a fucking eye, dude, because I don't remember a lot about him. But like the reason that Pain's not in, to me, like the reason that Pain wasn't in this tier is because like just the way his arc ends. And like if you, dude, we can still put fucking Pain up here. Like I don't give a shit, man.
Nah, Charles should be in Banff, but I still don't understand why.
Let's fucking put him up there. Like
I still don't understand why this guy is in Banff. I just like you're explaining him to me.
It's very simple. Like it's not like this like over like this again like a character like Makishima, a character like Toguro, like they have like a ton of backstory, and they have like a ton of like a ton of like psychology and philosophy about them. Even Obito to a certain extent.
But all of the other guys, they all seem to have like just so much to them, and they play such incredible roles in their stories, and there's just so much to be said for each of them. Whereas I feel like guy is just, he's a pedigreed kid who.
But it's also like the theme of like what power does to people, like how it can make them, like how it can turn them into something they're not, and like.
But he doesn't have power. He's not a fucking...
I mean, again, he doesn't have power, but, like, they play basketball, dude. Like, again, like, his power, it applies to other things, too. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not just, like, basketball, but, like, overall, he's smarter than everybody else. He's more talented than everybody else. He's just, like, this overwhelming character in the story,
But why does that make him interesting? See, that's another thing. The characters that are beside him are overwhelming, but there's a very good reason for all of those things. Like, Obito and Charles and all these other guys, they didn't start out overwhelming. They weren't... Charles was a pedigreed kid, but, like, he basically built his empire off the back of being the most ruthless, and he had Gias, but that was less important.
Yeah.
Obito...
Obito
started as a bum, literally a shitty
because
ninja.
The way that you just described him is literally Akashi. Like, that's literally what Akashi is. Like, the pedigree... everything that he's accomplished entirely on his own.
But you just said he's like a prodigy, a once-in-a-lifetime talent.
Okay, he is. But that's only because he's dedicated himself to working constantly. Like, that's the reason why he's a prodigy. I mean, he's also a prodigy because he has, like, this ability that literally no one else has. I mean, other people do have it, but that's in, like, the movie, and that's, like, horseshit, whatever. But, like... Again, like, this type of ability that, like, nobody else has, and, like, it's just, like, again, like, this overwhelming force of Akashi Seijiro that he is. Like, that's what he is. The way, literally, like, the way that you just explained the Emperor is Akashi. Like, that's what it is.
I think I might have
Except
to backtrack.
More simple.
I might have to backtrack on something I said, because I'm actually starting to think that the type of story you tell can constrain your villain. Because when you're talking about basketball, even talking about this guy as a villain is sort of it's not really... It's sort of a misnomer. He's not necessarily a villain. He's just like...
I mean, he's an antagonist.
He's an antagonist, but
that's what this tier list... It's villains... It's best anime antagonist.
No,
by me, Luther B.
The kind of story you tell changes the kind of things that antagonists can do, say, and be.
Yeah.
If you tell a more grand story, then it makes more sense that you would have antagonists that have more dimensions to them.
I mean, yes and no, but
a normal protagonist who is actually he's a basketball player is not going to have as many dimensions as someone
But that's just saying like simple things are bad, basically. Like simple things aren't as good as complex things. Like that's what the argument I'm hearing right now.
No, because it's not that he's simple. Like it's not okay. The story isn't simple. He's obviously a complex character.
Yeah.
But in terms of being a villain, he's limited in what the themes he can communicate are.
Well, the themes...
That's not simplicity. That's being limited to something.
The things he communicates are several things. There's also like the way he interacts with his teammates and stuff like that. Like, they hold him in such high regard, they're basically scared of him more than anything. But he's still, like, friendly with them. But there comes a point that, like, when he can't trust them anymore, like, when they start fucking up, he completely cuts them off. And is just like, I'm taking control of the game. I'm not even passing the ball. I'm doing everything completely solo. When they start, like, turning the tides against him and, like, he starts losing, he collapses. Like, he can't handle it mentally. Like, he can't handle mentally losing. And that's when his his original personality comes back out. Like, you know what I mean? Because his personality is like, hey, I created you out of fear, basically. I created you out of fear and loathing for those around me, those who I thought could be stronger than me. And so now I'm taking control because you can't handle this anymore. And the other personality is like, no, fuck you, I can still do this. But then he overrides him anyway, basically.
Also,
like, he is an incredibly complex character.
Multiple personalities is kind of a writing cop-out, in my opinion.
I mean, maybe, but like...
I think it's a cop-out to, instead of making a character multifaceted, making them have multiple personalities.
But that's the thing, like... Both personalities of Akashi are multifaceted. Like, they're not just both one note. I can't even like really, it's like hard for me to put into words how like just like the way that this character like carries himself before he has like the split personality, before like the other half gives up like control to this personality. Because you see, like, the quote-unquote, like, worst personality for most of the series. And he's incredibly complex. But even the original, like... because
but you just said he was simple. If he's complex...
I mean, no, like... I mean, again, simple because he plays basketball, you know what I mean? Like, he's the most complex character in the series. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, they do play basketball. It's not like this world-changing philosophical story or adventure or like this bombastic thing that's like it's them playing basketball. But even if he's
a complex character, does that make him the best villain? Because eventually,
does it make him the best villain? I wouldn't say he's the best villain.
Eventually,
on this list,
he becomes like. He becomes friendly to the other guys, right? Like he breaks out of that other personality.
His other personality, who was originally like. Was this like friendlier guy,
but in terms of his role as a villain, like why?
Like,
I can see how he would be a great character, and yet I don't connect that to his role as a villain.
It's because the ending. I mean, okay, so like the bad personality like is the villain, like he is the main antagonist of the series, but like his other personality, his original personality. Is when he takes control, he kind of he greets Kuriko, the main character, and he's like, "It's been a while," and Kuriko's like, "Oh, what? Like, oh god, he's back! Like the other one's back." And as the game proceeds, like he still wants to win, but he does it in a way that's like more enveloping of the themes, like of teamwork and trusting others. You know what I mean? Like his ability, like, because they have two separate abilities. So like the original personality's ability is to like make his other teammates exponentially stronger, with like his passing basically. So like just the way that, the original, or not, the way that the evil quote unquote personality like goes throughout the series makes him like by far like I think he's like an amazing antagonist. Like I'm putting him above characters like.
But why is he an amazing
Frieza.
Antagonist? Why is he an amazing antagonist?
Why is he an amazing antagonist? Because he just like again the
like
sheer
you just talked about him, his good and bad personalities. His bad personality is the antagonist.
Yeah.
But why is that a good antagonist?
Because of the sheer just like fear that he puts into people. The sheer like the sheer overwhelming power that he commands everything
with. But then why does that put him above someone like Frieza?
Because like again, Frieza is the best way. Like Frieza is basically almost exactly like Akashi's other personality, but Akashi's other personality has more facets to it. Like the pressure that he has from needing to succeed, the pressure that he has from like his mother's death, that he needs to carry on this thing that he loves doing. At the end of the day, like Frieza, yeah, he's an overwhelming force, but like he doesn't have any like motivation behind doing this. Like Akashi definitely does. He needs to do this to like prove himself, to prove he's the best. Like for specific reasons, like his mother's death and his father's like constant need for him to be the best. The pressure that he gets put on.
So you're arguing it's his motivations that distinguish him, even though he also has the fear.
He also has the fear. It's just him becoming that character. It's just like, dude, I'm explaining all of this.
But then why would that put him above someone like Pain?
Like I said before, again, I would put Pain up here. Like, I think Pain could be up here. But, like, I think we both agree that, like, the way the Pain arc ends is, like, lackluster and doesn't give a satisfying conclusion to the character.
Okay, but that doesn't, I don't know, I guess
like
it does take away from him as a villain.
His arc as a villain is unsatisfying.
But your argument for this guy is, like, he inspires the fear, which Pain does.
Yeah.
He has complex motivations, which Pain also does.
Yeah.
But
well,
then,
also, his motivations are entirely understandable. Like, I don't fault Akechi at all for being an antagonist.
Why do you fault Pain for being an antagonist?
I mean, fucking yeah, he's killing people. Like the way he goes about.
Also, to not fault someone for being an asshole just because they've suffered, I think is a bad way to look at it. You're still responsible for your own choices, which is also why I think that split personality is a cop out. Because you are responsible. You're not a split personality. You are responsible for the choices you make.
Yeah, believe me, I know. I entirely understand that, and he. Like, his other person, like, his original personality feels sorry for the things that he's done in the past. Like, the way that he's treated people. But, that's so dumb. Dude, don't you see how dumb that is? Like, why does he have a split personality? Like, that's just a lazy writing tool. I don't think so. I think it's just because he
didn't actually go through trauma or have a split personality from birth. He developed it. Whatever the fuck that means. He developed it. I feel that's lazy.
That's scientifically how split personality disorder is categorized. It's through trauma.
What fucking trauma did he suffer? Was he a child soldier? You know who didn't develop a split personality?
I'm sorry.
Fucking Pain!
I'm sorry that the world is just them playing basketball and it's not magic ninjas running around
there. No! He didn't suffer!
I'm fucking sorry! What do you mean he didn't suffer? It's like, it's the pressure of his own, like, his father just constantly puts pressure on him, and the only escape that he had was his mother giving him a basketball, and then his mother dies, and he's, the only thing that he has left of him, or of her, could possibly be taken away if he doesn't succeed absolutely in
There
this.
is a huge difference between having a bad relationship, an abusive relationship with your parents, and being a child soldier.
Yeah, no shit. But again, it's a story that isn't told in like this super grandiose magical world.
But
it's
it
the
doesn't
real
even
world.
make sense in
it
its
happens.
own context.
What do you mean? It makes entirely perfect sense.
No, it doesn't.
You literally have not watched this show. Like, you literally have not watched this.
Okay, great. But this is your subjective opinion here.
All of this is subjective!
Yeah, but I mean, like...
None of this is objective. There's no objective criticism of this.
If I can accept the guy from Psycho-Pass, which I also haven't watched, why do you think I'm not accepting this guy? Probably because it doesn't sound like he's a very good villain.
Again, because like
nothing about him strikes me in a way that is very compelling as a villain.
Again, the character of Makishima is like, again, like I think he's a better antagonist than Akashi, but you're like, oh, given the circumstances of blah blah blah, this and that, it's like, yeah, but like, he's still like a fairly normal kid, like. He grew up in a very tense relationship with his father. Like, I mean, not abusive, but like, he was forced to be perfect. Like, again, I mean, it might not sound very convincing to you, but like, I don't know, man. You just told me that, like...
this strikes me as like an Itachi situation, where as a character, you would consider him one of the best characters in the show. But as a villain, he's not. He doesn't rise to the level of these other villains you're putting up
but
there.
like, that's the thing. I also don't think like Itachi is like a villain.
Well, exactly.
I don't think he's a villain. I don't think he's even an...
But then if you agree with that, then why would you think he's a villain?
I think he
isn't really evil.
I think he's just a stepping stone. He put himself as a stepping stone in the way of like Sasuke to be better.
But then you just said you understand everything you did. I wouldn't even really classify him as a villain. And if I can say that, then I would say, like, why is he up there with all these actual villains?
I don't think his original personality is, like, quote-unquote, a villain. But that's not the one you see the most of. The one you see the most of is the antagonistic side of him.
But the one you see the most of...
Because thematically in the story, he serves a purpose. Like, the purpose that he serves is this entire, like, way of controlling people until you don't need them anymore. You know what I mean?
But in that sense, he's not really a villain.
In the way of sports anime, like,
he's more
teammates are everything.
He's more of an anti-hero then. He's not really a villain. He doesn't really belong there. Like Lelouch or Suzaku don't really belong here. Because they're not villains. Really. They're not.
But this again, this isn't this isn't villains necessarily, quote unquote. This is antagonists. Antagonists are the people in the story that are in the way of the heroes. Like, I get like the whole villain aspect of it, but like at the end of the day, antagonist. Like, that's what this is.
But as an antagonist, I still think he doesn't he isn't even an antagonist at the end. That most interesting character stuff doesn't even occur when he's an antagonist, because he's not an antagonist at that point.
I mean,
and he's not really.
I mean, yes and no. The other, like, his original personality isn't as antagonistic just because he treats people like he just treats people differently. He's just a different person. But like he's still an antagonist in the way that the characters need to beat him to win, you know what I mean?
But in that sense, I don't think he's
just not as much of an asshole anymore.
But
like,
he's
that's
not
all it
as
is.
good of an antagonist as these other antagonists up here. I don't think him or Pain belong up with these guys.
You don't think... Really? As much as you fucking love Pain.
I love Pain, but I think Obito... Like, he's more of a... Well... No. I just think Obito is like... He sort of just, everything he does comes together in a way that it really, his motives and like his end goal are more coherent than Nagato's, even though I like Nagato better.
Yeah.
I would say that the better antagonist is Obito. Whereas Nagato is not as good of an antagonist, but probably more of my favorite character.
I mean, but that doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense, because if he's your favorite character, then why wouldn't you put him up on the list with the best antagonists of the series?
Because as an antagonist, I mean, his end goal isn't necessarily coherent to me.
I mean, I get that.
Whereas
that
as a
aspect,
character,
like, why,
as an entire
like, what,
arc of a
like,
character,
what
I think...
what about? I even said we weren't going to talk about Naruto characters a lot, but here we are, fucking talking about Pain again. God damn it!
But
what
like,
about his character isn't, or the whatever part of him isn't completely coherent to you?
well,
If he's your favorite character,
well, his end goal for starters, he's going to, essentially have a WMD to hold over the nations so that there will never be war again.
yeah.
Which is basically Schneisel's plan. And I mean,
And
I don't think either of those plans,
is all the way down
none
here.
of those plans really make sense, and I don't think Pain is naive. Like in the same way someone like Tsukasa is naive,
Yeah.
because he's young. So like for me, that's sort of, whereas Obito's endgame makes a lot more sense to me. It's everyone's in a dream, and that dream by its very nature is perfect. So it's basically a dream world, and like, does it, like, you might say that's not real happiness, but who decides what's real and what's fake happiness?
That's what that's what makes him a villain, though. I
Well,
mean, the
exactly.
the villain part of him is that he's literally, like, it's taking the control away of he's literally taking the control away of people's lives. Like, that's what's happening.
Well, yeah, and Obito's presence also, like, he's behind Nagato as well. Even though I like Nagato more in the sense that I feel like where he's coming from is so viscerally interesting, and like how he was an orphan, how the party played in Akatsuki, how he was less of a leader and more of a follower, but was forced to take on a role. He's just more interesting to me than Obito is. But I don't think, in terms of being an antagonist, that either of those two belong with these other antagonists. Simply because, like, their antagonistic qualities sort of blend with their overall character. While I might agree both are better characters, I still don't think they're better antagonists. I think it is possible to separate that in a way, because no character is completely antagonistic. Well, unless it's like a cartoon villain.
Yeah.
Like, but neither of them are cartoon villains.
Shigaraki. One of those two.
But basically, when I split those up, I can say that I like Nagato's character better than I like Obito's. But as an antagonist, I think Obito's more compelling. And I think the same can probably be said of What's-His-Face, Akashi. Is that as a character, I think that's a really interesting thing they're going with. Even though I'm kind of like, about the whole split personality. I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting though.
Yeah.
But like, as an antagonist, I just don't think he's at that level. I think he's probably insidious, but his character is like one of the best in the series. That's where I stand on
it's pretty fucking great, actually. It's just hard for me to, like, because it's just the way that you, like, describe the Emperor, and you're like, oh yeah, the Emperor should be up here. It's just the way you describe him. I'm like, yeah, that's literally Akashi. Like, that's just literally Akashi. You know what I mean?
Okay,
I think... It's just hard for me to buy into the whole...
As an antagonist, though, I mean, Charles never stops... I think Charles's character might be worse than Akashi's in the context of their story, but as an antagonist to Lelouch, Charles plays a perfect role. His contrast between past and future is actually, and the conclusion is startlingly good. Actually, if the series had ended there, it might have been
no one would have cared,
better.
Yeah.
But like, I guess Akashi might be a better character than Charles. But Charles's role is so good as an antagonist. His whole character is antagonist. And then the role he plays is so central to everything in this amazing story. And he really plays that perfect role. That's why I think, even if Akashi or Lelouch are better characters, Charles is probably the better villain.
I mean, that's like this. I mean, again, like you're bringing up the themes of the story, and that just strikes me as like, yeah, that's like what Akashi is. I mean, that's generally what all the Generation of Miracles are. Like, I think all of them are great antagonists because, I mean, a couple of them aren't because they're more friendly than the others, but like, as like antagonists to the themes of the story, I think they're like amazing guys. You know what I mean? And like Akashi might be the best out of all of them. He might be. I don't know.
But if you're only saying he might be,
but that's
where's the hesitance?
But that's only because there's like one other guy that I'm like, yeah, he might be better, just because thematically he's a more, I guess focused character. You know what I mean? He's thematically more focused.
Wouldn't it be better for that character to be here as a villain?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he's not as, like, even he's scared of Akashi to a certain extent. You know what I mean? But like, and that's why I'm like, Akashi is the overall central antagonist of the story. Because like by the end of the series, like everything comes down to beating him. Like people are like, yeah, good luck against Akashi. You're gonna fucking need it. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, we can just agree to disagree. I don't think it's...
He is absolute. That's literally what he says.
I don't think it's... I think it's fine.
I think you would like Kuroko no Basket, honestly. I think you'd like it a lot.
I'm just not big on
like,
sports anime.
I know, but like, I honestly, I underrated it when we did our top 100 anime tier list. I should have put it in yes, honestly, because that's like my favorite show of the decade.
Anyone we can move from Dastardly down? I feel like it's a bit... Would you move Gendo down?
Maybe.
I guess as an antagonist, though, he kind of plays the role really well.
Yeah.
I'd move Gilgamesh down to Wicked.
You'd move Gilgamesh down to Wicked?
Yeah, I think... Well, as an antagonist... No, actually... No, actually don't move him down. Because I'm just trying to think how he plays his role in the story. As an antagonist to Saber, he's definitely the best. Kotomine, like... Yeah.
I'm looking at it. Maybe maybe I'd move Knives down. Yeah. Although,
I feel like
I look at Knives compared to all these other characters, and I'm like, Knives down.
Well, you could move some of the other guys down, though. Like, I think you could probably move... Well,
actually, fuck Zeref. Yeah, fuck Zeref.
Like, that guy can go
absolutely down. Fuck Zeref.
Alright.
And you know what? Fuck Dio, too. I don't give a shit. This is my tier list. Fuck this guy. I don't like him. Alright, well, we went a lot fucking longer than I thought we were.
Wait, should we reflect for a second? Like, what do we think a good villain is when we look at the top and we look at the bottom? What are the conclusions that we...
I think the biggest conclusions that you can come to are, like, characters that reflect thematically the... like, as foils to the protagonist. Characters that are complex. Characters that have a lot going for them. Characters that you can say a lot about. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't say a lot about fucking Boros... or, like, All for One. Because, like, there's just not much to them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their motivations are unclear, besides the fact that they just want to be the best guys of all time, I guess. They don't really have any, like, backstory that makes me like them or care about them. Yeah, it's just kind of like they do things because, and that's it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on these fucks. I mean, Mardgear was just a meme character because I put him in here. We didn't even talk about him, so, like, he's completely whatever. But yeah, no, I think this is pretty solid.
I think you should move Gilgamesh down. I changed my mind again.
Okay. All right.
When I'm looking at characters, I mean, a villain doesn't have to be relatable or human.
Yeah.
But I think it goes a long way for any character to be more comprehensible to regular people.
You need to understand them at least, you know what I mean? You
especially
need to understand.
If they're like a human being or seem to have human-like motivations,
yeah,
it helps me to understand where that is coming from.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, when I look at the garbage tier, what am I seeing? Jiren is a slab of wood. None of these people have in any way comprehensible motivations. Kaiba literally doesn't know what his motivations are.
He literally forgot. Kirito asked, "Why did you do all this?" And he was like, I don't really even know anymore. And then the series, like and then SAO exploded. Like, that was it.
Villains who who reflect the main character in an important way, or who are more comprehensible in terms of their motivations to what someone good would want to achieve.
Yeah.
That is something more valuable, I think, than just powerful antagonists. Although there are ways to execute powerful antagonists like Frieza well.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are also villains who I think are good who aren't necessarily comprehensible, like the Joker, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
He's not someone who we relate to.
Yeah.
And he's still a compelling villain.
Yeah, he's still a compelling villain. Especially in The Dark Knight. Holy shit, that movie's fucking awesome.
But I think it helps that there's a lot to say about Frieza and the Joker.
Yeah.
There isn't as much to say about someone like Jiren, because he's just a wall, a block.
Or even like other characters, and Fowl. These aren't the worst, but like they just don't have a lot going for them. Like these characters are like actively infuriating to think about, or just like annoying. These guys just there's just not a lot there, and Wicked, like, even still, like. I mean, we had contentions with characters like Stain, but even then, like, I don't know. The rest of these characters are like, up and down. You don't really get their motivations entirely, but like what they did was like cool and interesting, and they served a thematic purpose, probably, like the Kishin, or just put in like something good in the series, like Suzaki, like stuff like that. It's just it's just the bottom half of this list is like to like fuck this bad, but like, not saying that any of these Wicked guys are like overly bad. Like, they're not bad, they're just like,
Wicked is solid.
Yeah, they're not solid. Like entirely fleshed out.
But there could be more.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like A tier, B tier, C tier, and this is like S plus. Like, this is like... This gods. Is where the gods go. I'm sorry. And then, like, I don't know. When I think about it, like, I could probably bump up maybe like... Well, never mind. I was going to say maybe like a light to Insidious, but even that, I don't know. No, I think everything's good the way it is now.
Yeah, this is pretty solid. Solid bell curve.
Solid. All right, everybody, that's fucking it. This went a lot longer than I expected it to. But thanks for watching if you fucking made it this far in.
Feel free to tell us how wrong we are and stupid in the comments.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, obviously, like all of you already do. Anyway, see you in maybe the next one that we make eventually. Bye, everyone.
Peace.